confidence, connection, and new beginnings. Due to stigma, children with untreated clefts often miss out on school entirely. But thanks to Smile Train, students like Victoria are stepping into the classroom, raising their hands, and finding their voice. Smile Train partners with local experts to support with free cleft surgeries and other comprehensive care, empowering children to thrive in school and in life. Let's help every child walk into the classroom with confidence. Visit smiletrain.org/learn.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. In 2009, Lanny Smith was looking forward to a bright career in pro basketball. He had just wrapped up a successful run on the court in college and signed a deal with the Sacramento Kings when a devastating knee injury ended his career.
It's something that, man, I still have nights that I struggle with, you know what I mean? Because it was so much a part of my life, man. I went into a deep depression of trying to figure out who was I without this game of basketball.
Smith shifted his focus away from athletics and into building Actively Black. It's a value-driven athleisure company that Smith uses as a vessel to empower people in underserved communities.
Giving back to the community, uplifting the community is really the focus and the purpose for Actively Black. I look at the clothes as just like the vehicle in which we're doing this. You know, I've been saying we're not building an apparel brand. The clothes are just a uniform for the movement.
I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
With Fidelity Wealth Management, a dedicated advisor gets to know you and your goals to build a comprehensive plan to help grow and protect your wealth. Backed by a team of specialists, they'll analyze all your accounts, even the ones they don't manage, to keep an eye on taxes and provide proactive portfolio insights that can help you unlock your wealth's full potential. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC. Member NYSE SIPC.
It's deck days at Lowe's, and the savings are stacked. Right now, pros get 15% off all in-stock composite decking from top brands like Trex, TimberTech, and Decorators. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5-amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt tool. The deck's stacked in your favor with brands pros trust. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
He steps to the mic with a boom, ping, ping. Wisdom sharper than a beast's fierce sting. Words like fireflies that light the night. He turns the dark into blazing bright. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, all the airwaves king. Shake the ground, unveils the truth where lies abound. Politics, justice, social streams. He molds the chaos into dreams. No silence here, just the sound of change. Boom, ping, ping, rearrange. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, all the airwaves king. Through the static, through the noise, he amplifies the people's voice. Boom, ping, ping. Like a heartbeat's call, he's got the wisdom to break down walls. Yeah. Da, 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 da.
Welcome to the program. Today is Thursday, April 16th, 2026. And for the second time in about 9 months, southeastern Wisconsin is dealing with not just heavy rains, but very intense flooding. We are wondering if you have been impacted by this round of flooding with these torrential rains, including a couple of tornado warnings and touchdowns going back to Tuesday. Have you been impacted by these floods? I was sifting through some commentary on social media, and a lot of people are experiencing deja vu. Basements are flooded once again. I want to give some details of areas to avoid, the impact of the flooding, and of course, we'd love to hear from you. If you have pictures, feel free to text them to 833-212-1017. 833-212-1017. And if you've got some pictures, especially of roadways that are still flooded, please send those in so we can provide those photographs to folks viewing on YouTube. Our YouTube question for the day, our YouTube poll: have you been impacted by this most recent round of flooding? As I was driving in, the rain was subsiding. I had to be very careful with my route because I did not want to end up in more than 12 inches of water, which some of you are brave and drove through. Not recommended. It'll sweep your car away, not to mention the electrical damage that will take place, but I'm not here to tell you what to do. Wondering if you have been impacted by the flooding. I know some areas of the city have been left high and dry, which is certainly good news, but the information I'm going to provide, I don't want to say that I'm going to give a warning, because if I say a warning, it may sound intimidating and threatening. No federal or statewide disaster area has been announced. So keep that in mind. It's the first thing. So as bad as it gets, and it's just as bad for some folks in certain areas as it was last August. So no disaster area has been declared by the governor nor by the federal government, so please keep that in mind. The other thing that I'm going to suggest is that please consider flood insurance. Most people don't have it. Now, if you live in a floodplain, it might be required via your mortgage company or your current homeowner's insurance policy if you own a home. Most renters probably do not have flood insurance. I'm going to encourage it. I've got a little bit of information because it varies. What you're insuring, how much you're insuring, where you live. Has the flood map changed recently? All of those things go into factoring how much you're going to pay for flood insurance. I looked it up for my house. I don't have it. I'm very lucky. Very, very lucky. We've had many a flood in the years I've lived in my home, and the most water I ever got in my basement. So last August, when we had those horrible floods, I was nervous. Here's what I did last August that night. I think it was like a Saturday night, if I'm not mistaken. I went out that night. It was raining literally cats and dogs. I'm like, oh, it's not that bad. It took me probably an hour and a half to get home from downtown. I live 4 miles from downtown because so many streets were flooded. It was like I was in a damn corn maze trying to get home last August because of that torrential flooding. So by the time I got home, I was panicked because in all of the years I have lived in my house, the only time I ever got real water in my basement is when I left my basement window open like 15 years ago and some water came in through an open window. But I've been very, very lucky. But I just knew last August that I was going to have substantial water in my basement. And again, I got really, really lucky. I think because of my particular street, we're elevated just enough to where our basements don't flood. But 2 blocks to the east, every single time it rains, that block gets flooded. So I just happen to be very lucky. So I looked into flood insurance for myself. And I want to encourage you to do the same thing. I'm not telling you need to buy it, but ladies and gentlemen, the reason why I'm going to encourage you to at least look into it, it's only April. It is not severe weather season yet. It is not 90 degrees during the day, that really hot, saturated, humid air, and then a cold front comes in. Like that is what usually is the precursor to our very severe weather in the summertime, those really super hot, humid days, and then a drastic drop in the temperature and the mixing of the atmospheric pressures and all of the meteorological things. meteorological. Shoo, that's a lot. We're not having that now. This is just rain. So I think it is likely going to get worse. I don't want it to get worse because it's such a disaster when some people are just getting back to normal from what happened last August, and now they got to deal with this all over again. So flood insurance, I would encourage, because some policies will require a 30-day waiting period. A 30-day waiting period puts us in May. We really don't have our really super hot temperatures and our more common threats of severe weather until probably the end of June, July, certainly August. But knowing how these weather patterns have been going, it could be through September. So if you are looking at a flood insurance policy, consider starting it sooner than later, because you may have to wait for 30 days before that policy is in effect. And I say that because, the federal government is still partially shut down because the Democrats and the Republicans cannot agree on customs and border protection, and immigration and customs enforcement. The Trump regime and the Republicans in Congress want individuals to be rounded up almost with no evidence, with no warrants, just sweeping up as many people as they possibly can. And the Democrats are not agreeing to funding that kind of policy, and they shouldn't, because it's illegal, it's egregious, it's immoral, and it's unconstitutional. But in the meantime, there are parts of the federal government that are shut down. Now, CBP and ICE, they got an extra $75 billion allocation. They're fine. Trump moved some money around, which was illegal, but it was probably one of the things he should have done to pay TSA agents. So they're getting paid. But you saw what the lines were at some of the airports, especially those of you that travel. FEMA is not funded. And I need you to understand that. FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Administration, that provides flood relief, natural disaster relief. Remember, we're still going to have hurricanes. We're still going to have tornadoes. We have not yet gotten into the cresting of severe weather season, not just here in southeastern Wisconsin, but nationwide. FEMA very well may not be funded for the duration of the year, because I just don't see the Democrats and the Republicans agreeing on funding for ICE, Border Patrol, and then FEMA is included in that. So this is billions of dollars that is just being held. And another thing that I fear, because we have this thing going on right now called executive tyranny, where Donald Trump can take money and move money that was allocated by Congress for a whole nother category, for a whole nother department, and Trump can move that money around as he sees fit, and Congress is not stepping in because the Republican majority in the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate are afraid of him. So what money is sealed in FEMA right now, even though technically it is not funded, it can't spend any of those dollars. It was funded in the most recent budget reconciliation bill, but because it's shut down, if there are natural disasters, and we're seeing a little taste of one right now in southeastern Wisconsin, if they're more frequent and they are more severe, you can't count on FEMA. So this is why I'm going to encourage people to look at flood insurance. For my property, I'm looking at $906. And let me be clear about this. My house don't flood. I don't live in a floodplain. Now, where you live, it may vary. Let me also give you a little bit of a comparison. So my homeowner's insurance over the last, couple of decades, it has gone up, but I'm not shocked by that because the price of everything has gone up. So I'm paying about $1,000 a year for my homeowner's policy, and it's a good policy. Roof replacement, something happens to the house, if it gets blown off its foundation, they pay for Sherwin to stay in a hotel and all that other stuff. I got the bells and the whistles on my insurance policy. A separate flood insurance policy will cost just as much as my homeowner's policy that has all of the bells and whistles. I don't necessarily know why that is. One of the sciences that is very difficult for me to understand is what is called actuarial science. Actuarial science is assessing risk. Oh, this person is going to pay this much for car insurance, or this person is going to pay this much for health insurance, or this person who lives here in this zip code that has this background and this credit score and this income and this education is going to pay this interest rate. They're going to have all sorts of other differentials in what they pay. Actuarial science, to me, it's either something that's way out of this world, or it's just a bean counter somewhere in a cubicle who says, charge black people more. I'm not sure which one it is. But please look into flood insurance, because if you need natural disaster relief, there's no guarantee that it's going to come, because FEMA is still shut down, because we are still experiencing a partial government shutdown, because Democrats and Republicans cannot agree on how to execute policies to round up people who are in this country less than lawfully. I'm going to take a break, come back. Oh, by the way, stop wading in the floodwaters. No, that's not rain. Okay? When our system gets overloaded, they have to release untreated sewage into our riverways and ultimately into Lake Michigan. So some of what you all are wading in while you're filming your videos, and some of y'all are out there just wearing Crocs. So I just want to provide information. Doesn't mean that any of y'all are going to change your minds or change their activities. You guys ever heard of Legionnaire's disease? If you have a small cut on your pinky toe, or maybe you trimmed your toenails and got a little too deep with the trimming, you have a tiny little, and you go walk around in untreated sewage, bacteria infested water, they might cut off your whole foot. And I don't want any of you to have one foot, because if you lose a foot, I mean, you'll be able to park really close at grocery stores and movie theaters and shopping malls for the rest of your life. So there's that. But you would probably miss your foot. So I'm going to take a break. I'm going to come back. Talk about all of the delicious things that are in the floodwaters that some of y'all are using as your own personal water park. Please don't do that. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be back shortly.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, it's that time of year again for the Tory Lowe Community Cleanup. Mark your calendars for Saturday, April 18th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. as we'll be cleaning up the city of Milwaukee. You can also safely get rid of hazardous household items thanks to MMST. Drop off your items from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at MLK Elementary School. We're talking things like all antifreeze, paint thinners, batteries, and pesticides. Sign up now at ToryLoweCleanup.com. The Tory Lowe Community Cleanup is sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, Steinhoffels, Cousin Sub, and Waste Management.
You're a hard worker. Provide for your family and help out in your community. You've been there for so many others. But when life challenges you, when rising costs, unexpected repairs, medical bills, or simply a rough stretch make it hard to keep up on a limited or low income, you're not alone. Your local Wisconsin energy and emergency assistance providers are here for you, working together to keep you safely in your home and your heat and power on. If you're struggling with high utility bills, facing a disconnect notice, or dealing with a furnace emergency and your limited or low income isn't enough, support is available. Visit www.heat.help or call 1-800-506-5596 to apply for a hand up.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This is where I give out the phone number. Just so you have it. Questions, comments, I don't know, things you've noticed about life, unsolicited advice, dating advice. 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. The good news is the overwhelming majority of people that are listening and or participating via YouTube have not been impacted by these most recent floods. Only 26% of those who answered our current YouTube poll say they have been affected. 74% thankfully have not. But remember, this is very early in the season. This is why I am very concerned, because I don't know if we are in a position where we can deal with more natural disasters where we can't count on federal assistance to be swift. And I don't know if this current flooding situation we're dealing with here in southeastern Wisconsin has risen to the levels of a natural disaster, but because it's so early in the season, I think this could be a predictor of much more severe weather to come. As I recall, the incredible snows that we got, I don't know if it snowed very frequently this past winter, but the snows were exceptionally heavy, and I think that there's a hint that we can probably take from that. There is certainly more precipitation in the atmosphere, because what you're seeing now, this is not rain from really high, humid daytime temperatures colliding with a cold front, which usually produces our severe thunderstorms. This is like melted polar ice caps that is being pushed inward and inland. And I've had many a conversation about climate change. I've had so many of them, I'm not having them anymore because it's too late. So now we have to deal with the aftermath of melted polar ice caps now making their way to the city of Milwaukee streets, where some of you are finding it fun to go sailing. The Milwaukee Fire Department tells Fox 6 News that multiple vehicles are stranded in the water currently near Oklahoma and Howell on Thursday morning. The dive rescue team had to be called out. So if you're in your car and you think that you can make it through the water and you can't, it's very deceptive. It's really hard to tell how deep the water is. Sometimes you don't know until it's too late. And I was telling Xavier last August when we had that flooding, I had the bright idea to go out that night. And there was, it was at least 12 or 13 inches of water on 175 southbound, Highway 175. And I don't know if you guys know this, but highways are one way. And so I'm driving, the road was just wet. Guess it was raining. And then all of a sudden I see some ponding on the highway. I had never seen that before. Never have I ever seen deep water, standing water on a major highway or freeway. And I'm thinking, how deep can it possibly be? I panicked because my headlights, I had a different vehicle then, a much lower vehicle than I have now, but my damn headlights were underwater. I'm lucky that I made it out, that my vehicle did not seize. But if you're on the freeway and you see standing water, you got to think about this. And I'm going 60 miles an hour now. You know how dangerous it is? You have to weigh your options, because if you're on the freeway and you see standing water, what are you going to do? Turn around and go in the opposite direction of oncoming traffic, also going 60 miles an hour, so that you can get to the exit that you passed, so that you can exit the freeway also going the wrong way. That is treacherous. So I'm not sure what engineering needs to be done. And quite honestly, the engineering that we have, and I've heard a lot of people talk about the failures of the Deep Tunnel Project, and when they created the Deep Tunnel Project and we'd get rains where they had to release sewage into our riverways and into Lake Michigan, they say, oh, this is very rare because these rains are once in a lifetime. It's extremely rare. It's once in 100 years that we get these kinds of rains. That is what we thought then. Now these once every 100-year flooding type of rain events are happening every couple of months and several times a year. So they did not engineer for this kind of water to be redistributed throughout the atmosphere. So let's not blame them, because this is highly unusual to say the least. And I'm really worried about the future, because we haven't even gotten to the worst weather events that we are likely going to have. Where's my information on FEMA funding? FEMA relies heavily on its disaster relief fund for disaster response and recovery prior to the shutdown. The fund held $9.6 billion with the expectation of lasting 1.2 months under normal conditions. However, the lapse has caused depletion due to ongoing disaster responses. I come to find out that FEMA is still dealing with the disasters from last August's flood. And so if we have additional disasters on top of that, please look into flood insurance. Just look into it. Just see, because it might be worth it, especially if you just replaced all of your stuff. For those of you that did not have flood insurance, you probably paid more for replacement items than you would pay for a policy. I also know that people are squeezed. I'm going to do a segment later on in the program where I'm going to talk about the economy and how job losses are really hurting particular groups of people, and then what that looks like for the economy writ large. So people don't have a whole bunch of extra money. Gas prices are going up, or energy prices are going up, so people are already financially in pretty bad shape. But this is an investment that may be worth it because FEMA may not have the resources to help individuals that are impacted by natural disasters like the one we're experiencing now. FEMA funding and operations have been significantly affected by the ongoing partial government shutdown that started on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2026, and primarily impacts the Department of Homeland Security, in which FEMA is a component. The shutdown stems from a congressional impasse over the Department of Homeland Security appropriations related to immigration enforcement reforms. This is how interwoven our federal government departments are, because the Democrats and the Republicans cannot agree on customs and immigration enforcement. This also impacts people that need resources for flood relief, tornadoes, hurricanes, and other natural disasters. There is, or should be, a motivation for Congress to cooperate because of things like this. But since we politicize all of the things that should not be political, like health care, who can afford it, who can get it, who can't, we politicize natural disaster relief. And the reason why the political parties do this is because it forces the hand of the other party. There are pieces of American geography known as Tornado Alley, and for good reason, it earned that name. A lot of times those are plains states and also very red states. So when we get into the thick of severe weather season, and people in South Dakota and Kansas and Nebraska and Oklahoma and Texas and the Texas Panhandle are going to experience severe weathers and tornadoes and have their whole towns destroyed, they're going to be relying almost solely on the federal government and disaster relief to help them get back to normal and repair their lives. But when that money is not there, that will cause those individuals who are affected to really put the hammer down on their Republican elected officials in the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate to get this whole funding thing back to where it needs to be. And so the Democrats, it seems, are using this as leverage, and it's bad for everybody. And it's also one of those reasons why people don't have a lot of faith in the federal government. And quite honestly, I don't blame them. FEMA relies primarily on its disaster relief fund and disaster relief recovery. Prior to the shutdown, the fund held about $9.6 billion, with the expectation that money only lasting about 1.2 months. Loss in access of temporary funding provided in prior continuing resolutions estimated $22.5 billion. By early March, the balance had dropped to only $4 billion, with only about $1 billion available beyond typical reserves. Oh, so FEMA's broke. I thought they had more money than they actually did. Essential emergency service response continues. FEMA staff prioritizes life-saving and immediate disaster assistance, such as active response and survivor support. Non-essential and long-term activities are curtailed or suspended. Reimbursements and grants to states and local governments face long delays, potentially leaving communities to cover costs temporarily. So my parents got a little bit of flooding last year. A little bit. Nothing major, a little bit. So I went to go visit them, and they had a FEMA lady that was out there doing the inspection, and they got their money in like 72 hours. But I think that those days of the quick turnaround of FEMA dollars might be behind us. So please look into flood insurance. Your prices may vary, but the investment may be worth it. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be back shortly.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
Literally one call, that's all.
I made one call, and that's all, worry-free.
One call, that's all. It worked.
Just one call, and that's all.
They will do what they say they're going to do. One call, and that's all.
One call, that's all means security.
It's literally one call, that's all.
It's a phrase we'll never forget.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Still think you're going to use those old chemicals just sitting around under the sink, in the garage, or down in the basement? So don't let them sit there. Get rid of them right away. To MMSD's Home Hazmat Drop-Off Centers. It's safe, it's easy, and it's open to all Milwaukee County residents. There are 3 locations open year-round. The Tory Lowe Community Cleanup is happening April 18th, and with a mobile drop-off to help you clear out that waste. Visit us at MLK Elementary School at 3275 North 3rd Street from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Let's clean up Milwaukee.
Breaking down the issues that shape our city and our future.
If oil gets to $90 a barrel, I'll be able to pay off my house. I think war is awful. It's terrible. It doesn't resolve things. It creates long-lasting hatred and even more conflict that the American people are always going to find themselves involved in.
It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 to noon.
But if I don't have a mortgage, you know what I mean? You take the good with the bad. Didn't Donald Trump say he was going to end the wars? You can't have America first if you're involved in all these foreign wars. And there's people that believed him when he said that. He doesn't like wars. He said it many times. Said it on the campaign trail.
Catch it live on YouTube or tune in to 101.7 The Truth.
He's bombed just as much in his first year as any warmongering hawk president we've ever seen since World War II.
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Welcome back to the program. Oh, you guys, some information about what's in those floodwaters. People think it's just rain. It's not. Here's one that's very common and very popular. Let me see if I can pronounce it right. Escherichia coli. That's the E in E. coli, including Shingles toxin-producing strains, or STEC, common indicator of fecal contamination, causes diarrhea, gastroenteritis, and potentially severe complications. Levels rise significantly in sewage-contaminated floodwater. That is what this is. This is not rainwater. And also, consider this. You know how filthy Milwaukee streets are? Now, they're going to be much cleaner after this weekend's Tory Lowe community cleanup. They'll be clean enough for you to eat off of. But just think of all of the disgust and all of the debris and all of the the leaked oil and gasoline and things that people are dumping out on the streets, and you mix all that with this contaminated sewage water, untreated sewage, it's a recipe for disaster. Oh, here's a familiar one. Salmonella, including S. typhi. You can get typhoid fever from floodwaters. What if you're in the floodwaters and a little bit splashes in your mouth? Oh! And it tastes like somebody else's lunch? Leads to salmonellosis. Salmonellosis. And typhoid associated with contaminated water and food post-flooding. Shingella, responsible for shingillosis, which is dysentery. That's, let's just say that's the worst kind of stomach flu that you could possibly have. All of this stuff you can get from the floodwaters. Vibrio cholerae causes cholera. I don't even want to read what the symptoms of cholera are, because some of y'all are eating breakfast. Yep, it's that one. It's bad. Leptospiria causes leptospiriosis via contact with floodwater contaminated by animal urine, leads to fever, muscle aches, and organ damage, and it spikes during floods. Legionella causes Legionnaire's disease, severe pneumonia via aerosol water. So even the mist from the water, and as the water evaporates, you can get Legionnaire's disease. That's linked to stagnant or disturbed water systems. I'm providing all this information so you guys don't think it's cute to wade in the water. I saw some news video footage of some young people on the Marquette campus, because parts of the Marquette campus got flooded pretty bad. And they're like, dude, it's really cool. It's freaking awesome. And they're jumping in the water. I hope I wasn't that stupid when I was in college. Yes, I probably was. Staphylococcus aureus, and Streptococcus pyogenesis, associated with skin and soft tissue infections from contact with contaminated water or mud. Oh, that's not even all of them. Campylobacter, whatever that is, I guarantee you don't want that. Causes campylobacteriosis. I don't want to give you the symptoms of that, but trust me, when you have it, you're going to want to go to ER. Prevalent in and specific to urban floodwater from animal and human sources. So, okay, everybody, just stay out of the floodwater, please. All right, so I got to talk about the governor's race, because I think as we get a little bit closer, it's not going to be a long conversation about it, but it's something that I sorted out having a conversation with some political folks, because we're trying to figure out which direction that we're going to go in. So Tom Tiffany, he's the Republican. He will be the Republican nominee because there is no Republican primary, which is dangerous because Republican voters in the state of Wisconsin I think our primary is August 11th. Because Tom Tiffany does not have a challenger in the primary, it frees up what would be Republican voters, MAGA voters, conservative evangelicals, whatever they are, to vote for a Democrat. Now you'd think, well, why would they want to vote for a Democrat? Because their candidate, the Republican that is backed by Donald Trump, is going to advance to November no matter what. So it makes sense for Republicans and Republican-leaning independents to vote for the Democrat that they believe it is easiest for Tom Tiffany to beat in November. Right? So if Mandela Barnes had stayed lieutenant governor, we would not be having a Democratic primary for governor, meaning would-be Democratic voters and Democratic-leaning independents in the state of Wisconsin would and could vote for a crowded Republican primary, okay? And would vote for the Republican that is most likely to lose to Mandela Barnes if Mandela had stayed lieutenant governor. We didn't have this very crowded Democratic primary. I know that I would give the Democratic candidate the best advantage they possibly could to win in November, for reasons I'm going to provide more information on, because we just don't want someone who is cozy and sympathetic to Donald Trump's agenda, because I don't really know what that's going to mean for the state of Wisconsin. I don't think it'll be anything positive. And so if there was no Democratic primary, I would vote in the Republican primary for a candidate that is most likely to lose to the Democratic nominee. I hope that makes sense. Well, now the Republicans have that opportunity. As I'm looking at the field, and I know a lot of the people personally, some have been on this show, some have occupied other positions in government, and they're all, for the most part, great people. But you can be a great person, and you can be very liked by a lot of people. You can have an incredible personality, and your head and heart can be in the right place when you create policy. It does not mean that in these very unusual and strange political times that you could be elected governor in the state of Wisconsin. Because you are well-liked, because you are very nice, because you might even have a fairly decent policy background, does not mean that you're going to be able to raise the money and have the kind of campaign in 72 counties that is going to get you more than just recognized. It's going to get you beloved by voters to where they're going to select your name when they go into their little blue cubicle. If I look at the 7 candidates that are, and there's other folks that are running that I would consider them less major, there are pairs of candidates that have the exact same constituencies except for one candidate. And this is problematic because they all have to see it. We don't have as diverse a candidate field as one might think. Now, we do have some racial diversity and we have some ethnic diversity in the candidates that are running for governor here in the state of Wisconsin. But as far as the constituencies that they are going after, there's not a lot of diversity. So there's Joel Brennan, who has an incredible executive resume. I believe he was the executive director of the Discovery World Museum. He had run for public office before in the past. He managed at least one of Tom Barrett's statewide campaigns for governor. He served in Tony Evers' administration, in his Tony Evers Department of Administration. A generally well-liked fella, doesn't have any baggage. He's not a controversial guy. He's Milwaukee through and through. He's very moderate in his politics, and he's also served with Governor Tony Evers, who still remains exceptionally popular for a Democratic governor in a blue state. But then you have Missy Hughes, who was with the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. So Missy Hughes and Joel Brennan essentially have the exact same constituencies. Centrist, moderate, great business acumen, well-liked, no baggage, very little controversy, will likely put their policy emphasis on growing Wisconsin jobs and protecting rural farmers and all of those things, but they're splitting a constituency. And then you have the current lieutenant governor, who I actually feel sorry for most days because most people don't even know she's the current lieutenant governor, and she's running like 4th or 5th in a poll in which she is the current lieutenant governor. Her name is Sarah Rodriguez. She's a nurse by trade. She likes to tell people that. So she has healthcare experience, and she probably speaks with, in fact, I know Sarah Rodriguez speaks with great credibility on the cost of healthcare because she is a nurse and she's seen all of the things. But she is splitting votes with Kelda Roys, who is a state senator who is on at least her 3rd run for public office other than the one she is in. She's currently a state senator representing parts of Dane County and Madison. In fact, Kelda Roys is the state senator in the assembly and represents the Senate district in which Francesca Hong is currently serving in the assembly. But the more left-leaning liberal, I call them the mom voters. They were Kamala Harris voters. They are decidedly more left in their political machinations than any other constituency. This is basically the white woman vote split between the current lieutenant governor and Kelda. There's no new constituents. Like, I don't see the Hispanic community coming out in droves for Kelda. Plus, both of those candidates, both the current lieutenant governor and Kelda Roys, lack inroads to the black community. Which brings me to our current county executive, David Crowley, who is running a strong campaign. He's raised a fair amount of money. He is, in my opinion, and also my exposure, he's not nailing down his constituency in Milwaukee and in Milwaukee County like I think he should. There potentially are enough votes in Milwaukee County for the county executive to advance to the general election, but it seems like he is spending his time either raising a bunch of money or trying to convince people outstate that he should be the chosen one. But I think ultimately David Crowley's constituents are African-American voters because he has represented us before in many different capacities. And then you have Mandela Barnes. I don't know who Mandela's constituents are because typical left-leaning, liberal, pro-public school, pro-union voters have a bunch of other choices in this race. In fact, Kelder was just most recently endorsed by the Wisconsin Education Association Committee or whatever the hell the teachers union is, WEAC. Mandela kind of pulls from that group, but also there's a strong connection that Mandela and his family has with the African-American community. There's not enough black votes in the state of Wisconsin for David to get enough, and then for Mandela to get enough to advance past the other 6 candidates and make it till November. They're going to split the black vote, which is only about 4% of the vote in the state anyway. And I just don't know how many Caucasian votes David Crowley can pull from outstate Wisconsin because they're just unfamiliar with him. And it seems like Mandela Barnes, his bread and butter are the voters that know him well because he represented the African-American community in the state assembly. I know he got a very robust showing when he ran for lieutenant governor. That must have been in 2018, but it should be noted. Tony Evers got more African-American votes from the black community in Milwaukee than Mandela Barnes did, which should be a red flag for the Barnes campaign because that means that Mandela would have to pull a decided number of liberal and progressive votes, but those liberal and progressive voters have so many other choices other than Mandela Barnes. I'm going to take a break, come back. I want to talk about how Francesca Hong essentially stands alone. Now, this does not mean that she's a shoo-in for the nomination. It also does not mean that she will beat Tom Tiffany in November, but she's not splitting votes with anyone. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Milwaukee business owners, this is your moment. Every Friday at 8 a.m., call in to 101.7 The Truth for What the Business Is. Tell us what your business is, where you're located, and one thing you've learned along the way. What the Business is powered by We Energies, delivering the energy that powers local business. Fridays at 8 a.m. on 101.7 The Truth. Fridays at 8 a.m. on 101.7 The Truth.
Join Cousins Club Rewards today. Grab your first sub and your next one could be free. After your first qualifying purchase, you'll earn a free sub and start collecting points for free food, exclusive deals, and even Cousins gear. Sign up today. It's fast and easier than ever on the Cousins Subs app. Earn points online, on the app, or in store. However you enjoy Cousins Subs, your rewards are right at your fingertips. Cousins Subs. We believe in better.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on where you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
When you get a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease, things get real.
And nobody understands that better than the Parkinson's Foundation. All across the country, we provide resources and support in the fight against Parkinson's, a neurological disease that affects movement.
The Parkinson's Foundation is dedicated to improving care and advancing research towards a cure.
And when you call our helpline, you'll speak to a real person who can help you find the right information. Because while living with Parkinson's can be challenging, there are things you can do to improve your quality quality of life. So, whether you're newly diagnosed, have been living with Parkinson's for years, or caring for a loved one,
When Parkinson's gets real, find real answers at the Parkinson's Foundation.
go to parkinson.org or call our helpline at 1-800-4PD-INFO, 1-800-473-4636. The Parkinson's Foundation. Better lives together.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Via our text line at 833-212-1017. Rick says, I noticed you didn't mention what the Biden administration did with FEMA money. Shut up. But it's crazy how Joe Biden ain't president no more, but if Joe Biden did anything, we got to look at what Joe Biden did. I know the government wasn't shut down. What did Joe Biden do? Go get a bunch of cocaine and strippers with the FEMA money? What did he do? Rick, relax. Seriously. All I know is this, if we have more severe storms, which is likely as we get into the warm weather season, FEMA money that was the life's blood for a lot of folks in southeastern Wisconsin that didn't have flood insurance, FEMA helped pull their lives back together, and that money likely is not going to be available. Plus, I don't even know what the status of the Federal Emergency Management Administration is under the Trump regime. They could have just sent all the employees to go and do customs and immigration enforcement, which he has done with a lot of other federal departments. Dawn wants to know who my home insurance carrier is. Dawn, I have Progressive. That don't mean that Progressive is going to be cheap for you. They cheap for me. I guess we are sponsored by American Family Insurance. I had American Family Insurance for a very, very long time. Until I didn't. But your situations may vary, so what you have to do, and sometimes you can get a broker. A broker will find you the best policy for your money. I would suggest that. Otherwise, you're going to be spending a tremendous amount of time on the internet. And then Marcus sent me an Instagram link, which I'm scared to click on. The fascinating thing about Francesca Hong is she's a very unlikely candidate for governor, not just because of her political leanings and her stances, because we flirted with democratic socialism before in the state of Wisconsin, but it was some time ago and everything was different. The economic climate was different. The political climate was different. It was before January 6th. But Wisconsin voters at one point in time did prefer it from Bernie Sanders. And the thing about what I know about Democratic Socialist voters, they're not going to prefer any of the other candidates because they're all going to be too moderate, or they're not going to go far enough on issues of affordability, or they will try to compromise way too much with Republicans, and just these moderate policies, they really haven't worked for people. They have not. And most of the Democrats who are in the race, save for Kelda Royce, who I think would adopt any political position that can get her closer to the nomination, I think most of them are still fairly moderate. What we saw in the most recent state Supreme Court race is the entire state of Wisconsin shifted to the left. The whole state did. There were counties that were 10, 15, 20% red and voted for Donald Trump, and maybe voted for their Republican member of the House of Representatives, that voted decidedly for Chris Taylor, who was the unabashed liberal candidate. Do we know if this holds true through the August primary and through November? We do not, but I do know this. Our April elections in Wisconsin, lower turnout, but they are older in age. The average voter is a lot older, and they are whiter than typical general elections. And if older and whiter voters in conservative counties and Republican congressional districts voted overwhelmingly for the liberal candidate, that may signify one thing. And here is what a candidate like Francesca Hong would need to get through the primary. The general election will be something totally different. And the Democratic Party, whether it be the state Democratic Party here or the DNC, which is the national arm, would have to be okay giving tens of millions of dollars to a candidate that potentially could win, but is decidedly left, way left, of status quo Democrats and the people that the DNC normally funds. And the Democratic Governors Association would also have to consider how much money it's going to give to a candidate that is even further left of them, and maybe it encourages more Democratic socialists to run, which would replace moderate Democratic governors all over the country. This is a lot to think about. It's a lot of calculus that's going on. But I don't think that the voters who would prefer a Democratic socialist are going to be split amongst a Joel Brennan, a Kelda Royce, a Sarah Rodriguez, a Mandela Barnes, and a David Crowley. If independent voters, and I don't even know what an independent voter is. You're a damn Democrat or you're a Republican. You lean in one way or another. What's an independent vote? I don't even know what that is. I think it's a made-up term, but whatever. Maybe those are the people that switch party from one cycle to the next cycle. They'll vote for the Democratic candidates in a midterm, and then Trump is running. They vote for Trump, and then they'll always tell you they voted for Barack Obama, and they just kind of switch back and forth. Maybe they're issue voters. Independent, I'm not really sure if that's the most accurate term for those people. But if independent voters in the state of Wisconsin have shifted left by 15 or 20%, Francesca would become the next governor of the state of Wisconsin. She's still bartending. I don't know how I feel about, and it's cute. It is like, oh, a candidate for governor is like a real working person, and she's playing up the single mother thing. And I think that's good, and that's relatable, I guess, to other single mothers if we're assuming the single mothers vote. But I don't know if I like the fact that she's getting people drunk while she's running for governor.
Why not?
This doesn't sound very
seems Wisconsin
professional. You know, it isn't. This is not, I don't want to just elect somebody who's Wisconsin, because if we elect somebody that's Wisconsin, they're probably going to be anti-black.
Did you get that?
Anti-affirmative action. It's an executive position. And maybe I'm old school. I remember when elected officials didn't wear Air Jordans. They dressed the part. They were to be taken seriously. They were about business because they're doing the business of the people in the state of Wisconsin, and they are the curators of a $100 billion biennial spending plan that funds everything that we know and love in the state of Wisconsin. I've never been a fan of novelty candidates. I can't think of what his last name is. His name is Randy something. But he ran for Congress. He had this big mustache and always wore a construction worker hat everywhere he went while he was campaigning. And he was a novelty, too, because novelties don't often last long. They tend to be flashes in the pan. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for hour 2.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. He's the voice for the people and the community's connection to change.
So I was shocked that they let an advocate get on the air, because I was like, man, do y'all really want to know what's really going on out here in these streets? I wish I could have a whole show that y'all could listen to every phone call that come to my. I could do a whole show on my voice message. Just people calling, talking about what's happening. Just off the voice message, y'all wouldn't even believe what I got in my voice message. That if I'm gonna start a podcast after show, I'm gonna let y'all hear the raw material, because we can't even play it on the air. That's how real it is out here. That's why I ain't got time for all y'all all that extra stuff that y'all be trying to do. I'm just happy that we're able to have these great, powerful conversations. But I'm going to always remind y'all that we got to still get out here and get to work.
The Tory Lowe Show, weekdays from 1 to 4 p.m. Live on YouTube and right here on 1017 The Truth.
I take care of the kids, and I take care of my dad. I take care of things at work. The groceries, the cleanups, the meltdowns, the doctor's visits, the family events, mealtimes, bedtimes. I take care of all the things everyone else needs. But I haven't made time to take care of what I need.
Family caregivers are often overloaded. It can feel overwhelming and exhausting. It's no surprise that millions of caregivers experience symptoms of anxiety and depression every year. But help is available because there may only be one you, but you don't have to do it alone. Head to mentalhealthcareworks.org. That's mentalhealthcareworks.org to learn how to get the support you deserve, because mental health care works when you make the call. If you're experiencing a mental health crisis or thoughts of suicide, dial 988, a message from the American Psychiatric Association Foundation.
People don't realize that glaucoma is one of the leading causes of blindness.
Because there are often no early symptoms, nearly half of those with glaucoma may not even know they have it until vision loss has occurred.
I was diagnosed with normal tension glaucoma in July of 2020. And what we found out at that point was I had already lost 40% of my sight. You think it only affects people that are, 75 or older, retired, grandparents, and that's not the reality of it.
I didn't think at all glaucoma was going to affect me because I didn't know of anyone that had glaucoma, no one in my family. When you have glaucoma, you can't get back that sight that you lost. And so early detection and treatment is vitally, vitally important.
Don't miss life's most beautiful moments. Schedule an eye exam today.
National Glaucoma Research, a Bright Focus Foundation program, offers free resources and tips for healthy vision.
Learn how to protect your sight at stopglaucoma.org.
You're listening to the new 1017 The Truth, founded in partnership with Associated Bank. Your money works here. 1017 FM, 1510 AM, WGKB Waukesha, and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to hour 2 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. Curly Q is asking if we're live today. Nah, we're doing a recorded show for April 16th, 2026. So no, I'm not actually here right now. I'm not live. Isn't there a way that you can tell? Because I guess if you play a recorded show, and if whatever I'm talking about, because you replay recorded shows on YouTube. We didn't used to do that. There used to be no YouTube. But if the subject matter of the recorded show is timely, I imagine people could assume that it's, I don't know, it's live. But no, I'm here today. Yesterday, I had a stress test. As you get older, you got to start prioritizing your health. And I've never been shy about my health because I know that African-American men in particular, we are quite reserved, I think, when it comes to exposing our vulnerabilities, but this is just natural parts of aging. For those of you that know what a stress test is, it's typical. It's something that your doctor may order just to check out the functioning of your heart. This was my first one, and it was just for, I suppose, preventative measures, because what a stress test does is they get your heart rate up to a particular beat per minute based on some demographic factors, your age, et cetera, et cetera. And then they inject this stuff in your IV, and it goes all in your veins and all in through your heart, and they check to see if you have any blockages. I know several people that have had either stents put in their hearts or they've had bypass surgery. I don't want bypass surgery for a number of reasons, because I have a feeling that if the doctors cut open my chest to do a bypass, I'm like, oh, look, he doesn't have a heart at all, or his heart is very black like a piece of coal. I don't need anybody going into my chest and bypassing any of my arteries. Plus, the surgery has got some pretty serious consequences. So you get a stress test to see if there's any blockages or any myocardial infarctions. Make sure all of your valves and all of your things in your heart are working so good. Okay? So first they start with a cardiac MRI. That's what it is. Magnetic resonance imaging, where you lay on a table and there's this big infrared camera that circles your body, and it takes a bunch of pictures of your heart. You got to sit there for 12 minutes and you can't move. And it's taking a bunch of pictures of your heart. Okay? Then you sit down for a little while, and then you go into another room where there's a whole bunch of questions to ask you about your health and about your medications and blah, 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 blah. But in this room, you will notice there is a treadmill and several different computer screens. This is where I had to take off my shirt, show all this beefcake body, and they hook up these electrodes to your chest and to your side, and they put this like a computer that's connected to all of the electrodes that are placed on your chest and your side and all of your stomach, because they're monitoring all of the blood flow functions and the heart functions. And I'm looking at this treadmill. Now, I know that there's a treadmill that's a part of the stress test, but I ain't scared of no treadmill. I've been on a treadmill before. You can't scare me with that. In fact, that is my preferred way to get my cardio, is on a treadmill. And so what they do is, they have this computer, and it monitors every single bit of your heart function and your oxygen levels. And there's a lot of people in this room. There's a nurse practitioner, there's the tech, there's the woman that administers this, whatever the radioactive material is that goes in your IV, that they use that to like highlight some of your smaller little veins and arteries in your heart. And then there was a lady who was just like a new nurse who was just in there watching. This is not a very large room. It's myself and many women and a treadmill. And so they said, okay, Mr. Hughes, we're going to have you step onto the treadmill. You can grab onto the guardrail. We would prefer if you grab onto the guardrail. I said, I don't need no guardrail. I ain't scared of no treadmill. I know how to walk on a treadmill. Y'all ain't got to tell me. I'm over here thinking I'm going to break some kind of world record with how long I can go on the treadmill. Please stay tuned. On my right arm, they connect a blood pressure cuff. So as I'm beginning to walk on the treadmill, they are checking my blood pressure, and the tech is calling on my blood pressure numbers every couple of minutes so they can also record and report what my blood pressure numbers are while I'm on the treadmill. And that's also a part of measuring the functionality of my heart. When I work out at home, I start the treadmill real slow with no incline. And then as I get warm, I increase the speed to whatever feels comfortable. And I increase the incline ever so gently until I get myself into a rhythm. Now, you got to keep in mind, I have had no coffee, so there's no caffeine, because you cannot take a stress test if there's any caffeine in your body, because it interacts with the chemicals that they inject into your IV that measures the width and the thickness of your heart and all of. So no caffeine, and you have to fast. Your boy hasn't had anything to eat since dinner the night before, and I eat dinner early on Tuesday. So I had dinner at 5:30. It is now 9 o'clock in the morning, and your boy hasn't eaten in, 18 hours damn near? So your boy has zero energy, no caffeine going through my body. But I'm like, you know what? This treadmill ain't going to be nothing. So I stand on the treadmill, and I notice that the incline is a lot higher up than I would normally have it as I'm starting my typical workout. And I looked over at the nurse practitioner. I said, hey, can we maybe lower this a little bit? Because I need to get into my groove. She's like, sir, there's no groove here. We need to get your heart rate up to 145 beats per minute as quickly as possible. I said, oh, I'm sure that you do. But I think that the incline is too steep. When I got on this damn treadmill, y'all, it felt like I was already walking up a mountain. My calves are already hurting. And so they start the treadmill, and they said, okay, Mr. Hughes, try and get comfortable, and you're going to go as long as you can. We'll let you know when your heart rate gets to the targeted amount. In fact, you can watch this little monitor right here in real time, and you can see what your heart rate is as you're walking on the treadmill. Remember, I've had nothing to eat in 18 hours. I've had no caffeine. I've had nothing but water since the previous night. I have essentially no energy, and your boy is a little bit sleepy. So I'm on this treadmill. The incline had to have been 5.5%, 6% because my calves are hurting already. As my heart rate, because I started out with a heart rate of about 72 beats per minute, and I'm thinking, okay, here we go. I'm already struggling in this 1 minute. And my heart rate is like 75 beats per minute. I'm like, I know I can get more out of this ticker than this because my legs are already starting to get tired. They say, Mr. Hughes, every 3 minutes we are going to increase two things. We just want to let you know, and we're going to give you a countdown. When we increase these two things every 3 minutes, we are going to increase both the speed and the incline of the treadmill. I said, no, you don't got to increase the incline. I already feel like my black ass is walking up Mount Everest. I don't know what you want me to do. Don't worry about it, Mr. Hughes. We're going to get your heart rate up to the targeted rate, and everything is going to be just fine. So I'm going along, and now my heart rate has just crossed over 100. Okay, we're making progress, but 145 beats per minute is a long way away because remember, your boy ain't got no kind of energy. Now my butt cheeks are starting to hurt. Thighs are getting sore. Legs are getting heavy. Mr. Hughes, in about 30 seconds, we are going to increase both the incline and we're going to increase the speed because we need you to be at a targeted heart rate of 145 beats per minute. And I'm out of breath already. I'm okay, let's go. I'm thinking by the time they do the next increase, my heart rate is going to spike. I'm going to be at 145 beats per minute. But here's the thing. Once I get to 145 beats per minute, oh, no, baby, the test is not over. That's when they inject the fluid into my veins and they say, after you reach your target heart rate, we're going to need at minimum another 60 seconds at 145 beats per minute. So once you reach your target heart rate, you're not done. In fact, they said go as long as you can once you reach your targeted heart rate because that gives us a much more accurate test. And I'm starting to do some mathematics in my mind. At this point, your boy is starting to get delirious. And I'm getting real frustrated and agitated, and your boy is starting to sweat. And the nurses are just talking amongst themselves. I don't need y'all to be in here chit-chatting. I'm over here walking up a wall. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Are you ready, Mr. Hughes? We're going to increase both the speed and the incline of the treadmill. I don't even know if I could talk at this point. I know that my heart rate is stuck at 118 beats per minute, and I got nothing left, y'all. It's only been 3 damn minutes. They increased both the speed and the incline of the treadmill, as they said they would, to a level that was damn near insane. So I'm pretty much jogging, and the incline is so steep, it feels like I'm running up a damn wall. And at this point, because you guys know that I'm not really religious, I promise you I started calling on Jesus. And he and I had a chat. And he was like, Sherwin, my child, all of that mess that you talked about me while you were broadcasting live on 101.7 The Truth, I should not help you at all. But I said, Jesus, come on, dog. Come. Sherwin, I saw the picture that you posted of your face on my body that you shared on social media. Did you think that was funny, my child? Well, I said, Jesus, Trump did it. My child, please do not bring up Donald Trump in the presence of me. So I'm having this conversation with Jesus because I'm clearly out of my mind. At this point, I cannot really breathe. My legs are numb. My butt cheeks are sore. My thighs are essentially burning like they are on fire. And my heart rate is at 137 beats per minute. And now the nurses in the room, they're my cheering section. Come on, Mr. Hughes, you almost have it. We just need 8 more beats per minute. Can you keep going? And I am screaming, no, I cannot. Yes, you can, Mr. Hughes. And at this point, Jesus has left the chat. Jesus is like, you're on your own, sir. And I tried, and my heart rate stayed stuck at 137 beats per minute, and I could not get it up to 145, but there's a fail-safe. Most people do not get their heart rates up to the targeted rate before they run out of energy, because remember, you're fasting. I had no energy to burn off while I'm on the treadmill. And then I said, I can't, and I'm hanging on for dear life. Like literally the treadmill, I was about to be an internet meme, because had I let go of the handlebar on the treadmill, I would have flown out of the door of this small little doctor's office that I was in at Columbia St. Mary's. And I told them I could not go any further. And they have like a secondary injection that measures your heart even though you don't get to the targeted heart rate. And they were able to get a completed test. But my goodness, was that something else. It was... I had like planned it out in my mind. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get on the treadmill and I'm gonna do a little bit of a workout and it's gonna be fine. And I'm gonna flirt with all of the nurses because nurses nowadays are thick. Every nurse I had was under the age of 40 and all wore skin tight scrubs. Oh no, they don't wear baggy scrubs no more. Oh no, my nurses is thick. Like they all eat collard greens and cornbread. Yeah. So that was my morning yesterday. So I was not here yesterday because I was getting my cardiac stress test. Oh, by the way, I did get the results. I don't have any blockages in my arteries and in my heart valves and all of those things. So there you go. I'm not going to have a heart attack, at least today. But I dread the day in which I have to have another stress test because I'll probably have to have another. And I don't know how often you do them, 5 years, 10 years. But I will be much more well-informed. Xavier, please get ready because all this stuff is coming your way. Colonoscopies and all that. It's all the fun stuff you get to do to keep yourself alive.
Well, I'm already getting myself into shape because we're going to war, so.
I think you'll be all right. I really think that everybody's going to be okay. They did do this like automatic draft registration, but it would require, like Congress would be Trump can't send anybody, he can't draft. Congress would have to do it. They have to actually declare a war. And I don't see, this is just me, the Democrats, if they take control of the Senate, the House they have, I don't see the Democrats in the House, and if they get control of the Senate, declaring war on Iran because that gives justification to Donald Trump's war crimes and his illegalities. If anything, they may pull our troops out because the last Democratic president that we had, the last two, pulled troops out of those foreign wars in the Middle East. And also Donald Trump promised no more foreign wars. And if the Democrats can make good on that promise, I think it would be to their benefit. Do I see Democrats with their brand new majority ready to impeach Donald Trump on 30 different things, declaring war on Iran, and then issuing the draft? I do not. So, Xavier, I think that you're okay. But still continue to get in shape as if you're going to get drafted.
Exactly.
Yeah. Make sure you're working out and taking care of yourself because, boy, when you have that stress test, I was walking like up a wall. That is how much incline there was on the treadmill. I'm thinking, oh, they're going to start all gentle. No, they were very aggressive.
You've never done the Stairmaster?
I have, and I can't last long on it. This was worse because the Stairmaster, you can have it like steep, but you can slow down. The treadmill is unrelenting. I'm going 3.5 miles an hour. It's that uncomfortable speed where do I jog or do I do the mall walk? I'm somewhere between an awkward jog and a mall walk. I got a blood pressure cuff hanging off of my right arm. My left arm is it's limp because I'm trying to hold myself up. I'm going side to side. I'm sweating. It's hot. The nurses are talking. I got no energy. I got no caffeine. I hadn't eaten any food in 18 hours. I think I screamed help at one point in time. I think so. And I said to the ladies, I think I was about to have a heart attack. She was like, oh, Sherwin, this is a perfect place to have a heart attack. You're in the cardiac unit of St. Mary's Hospital. I said, ma'am, I don't think you understand. I don't want to have a heart attack anywhere. So even the best place to have a heart attack is still not a good place to have a heart attack. Like, oh, you're going to be fine. But they say most people... So one of the texts was a black lady. Whenever I see black people in healthcare, I have conversations with them that I don't necessarily feel comfortable having with the white nurses. And so the tech and we actually spent more time together during my stress test than anybody else. This African-American woman named Sheila, just a wonderful lady. She said, Sherwin, you would be surprised at these white folks and these marathon runners that can't get their heart rate up. Because if you're in really, really good shape, you can run a marathon and your heart rate not be at the targeted rate. And also, marathon runners, they carb up. They eat a whole bunch. They may eat the day of, and they're certainly going to eat the day before. When you are fasting and you're in really, really good shape, you will run out of steam and run out of energy before your heart rate gets to the target. Because they make the target, like, insanely high. And Sheila said, Sherwin, I've seen white folks cry because they feel like they lost because they couldn't get their target heart rate up before they had to stop. And she was like, that's the point of the test, to completely and totally exhaust you to get your heart rate at this maximum for your age, but to do it as quickly as possible. So I didn't feel bad at all. I didn't feel like I lost. All I know is I hope I never have to do that joker again, but next time I'll at least know what I'm in for. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Truth Nation, it's that time again for the Tory Lowe Community Cleanup. Mark your calendars for Saturday, April 18th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. as we come together to clean up the city of Milwaukee. Be part of making a difference in our community. The Tory Lowe Community Cleanup, Saturday, April 18th, 8 to noon. Sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, Steinhoffels, Cousin Subs, Waste Management, and presented by the Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District, your clean water partner, serving Greater Milwaukee for 100 years.
At Milwaukee College Prep, we don't leave success to chance. We're designed for it. With strong support, high expectations, and a team committed to excellence, our educators turn belief into outcomes every day. If you believe every child deserves an excellent education, join Milwaukee College Prep. Apply today. Visit mkeprep.com/jobs.
Experience, knowledge, and results. That's what really matters when you need help after a serious truck accident. You'll need a lawyer experienced in fighting and winning for people just like you. Gruber Law Offices has the resources, strong track record of success, and a team of experienced lawyers to take care of your needs. We've successfully helped people injured in big truck accidents for more than 35 years. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
It's a spring thing, Milwaukee. Join us Saturday, May 2nd from 11 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at Embassy Center, MKE, 3725 North Sherman Boulevard. This free family community resource fair is for ages 0 to 100. Get free diapers, baby wipes, groceries, haircuts while supplies last. Don't miss baby food prep classes and powerful maternal health speakers, Bishop Walter Harvey and Dalvery Blackwell. Doors open at 10:30. Come early. It's a spring thing. Don't miss it.
Hey there, Jane Lynch here. You want to hear something funny? Too bad. You want to hear something uplifting that will inspire you? Good. Because today, I want to talk to you about Direct Relief, a humanitarian organization that does seriously good work when it counts. Fires, hurricanes, earthquakes. When disaster strikes, Direct Relief immediately shows up with medicines, medical supplies, and everything doctors and nurses need to save lives. Let's ship her out! Every day across the United States and around the world, they're making an enormous difference. If someone needs help, Direct Relief helps. No politics, no red tape. Hey, what you doing over there?
Oh, I'm packing insulin for kids with diabetes.
See, every box here is literally a lifeline for someone in critical need. So check them out at directrelief.org and donate if you can. You might just bring a smile to someone's face.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
And to the people saying, oh, Sherwin, you're just out of shape. A stress test has nothing to do with the shape you're in. It's about getting your heart rate up to a level that it takes you 30 minutes of regular exercise to get your heart rate up to. And they're trying to do it in like 9 minutes or less. Very few. So you're basically starting out. So if you're a runner, maybe you're a distance runner, or maybe you're doing cardio, very few people start out sprinting up a hill. If you're on a treadmill, you start out at a reasonable speed while your muscles get warm. Like there's no warm up here, or the warm up was an intensity that most people would be at, even if you're in shape, after like 10 or 15 minutes. Because to go from standing still on the treadmill to an incline of 5+% at 2.5 or 3 miles an hour is a hell of a way to start. You also got to keep in mind, and this is the part that I can't stress enough, most people, when they exercise and they work out and they achieve a comfortable heart rate, they have eaten. They have calories to burn. their muscles are producing glycogen and producing energy for you to continue at that high level. You are fasting. So they have you basically completely empty. Even if I could have had just like a little bit of coffee, because caffeine actually boosts workout performance. A lot of people that take pre-workout, these different drinks, it's basically just caffeine. Or people will have an energy drink before they exercise because of the caffeine that's in it. That'll give you a little bit of a boost, but you can't have any caffeine because it boosts your heart rate without corresponding aerobic cardiac exercise. No, for those of you that know, somebody in the chat was like, oh yeah, I remember my stress test. But I'm going to talk openly about these things, especially to an African-American community that does not take our health serious enough. A lot of us are afraid of these different medical procedures. Like, it don't bother me none. Okay, Sherwin, here's what you're going to do today. You're going to come in here and you're going to get butt naked and you're going to do, whatever I got to do to stay alive, fine with me. Sometimes I stay home and I call that enjoying my mortgage. Sometimes I go to the doctor and I go and get regular physicals and health exams because I'm enjoying my health insurance. Because most of, my stress test was totally covered. So why would I not get that test so I can have peace of mind? Because a lot of folks, when it comes to their health, like, oh, well, if I feel fine, everything is okay. No, you got to get the insides looked at. So I'll be around for a little bit longer. Plus, I passed out on the air last year. That was a rough one. Gastritis is an MF, boy. I tell you what, it'll get you. But I ignored it. I shouldn't even have come to work that day. I was like, nah, I'll be okay. I'm only on the air for 3 hours. I didn't make it an hour and a half. So I have to take my health very seriously. Plus, I don't have a nagging wife. That is one thing that I'll say where married men may have an advantage. Married men actually do live longer. It's not necessarily a happier bunch of years that they get, but they got a wife saying, you need to go to the doctor. You need to go and get that checked out. You need blah, blah. And some men just go just to shut her up. But I don't have that nagging person telling me that I need to go and get my physicals and get checkups. So I have to do that on my own. But it's a responsibility that I willingly take because, contrary to popular opinion, life is fun. Or at least I believe it is better than the alternative. So if I can make sure that my health is in order, this is something that women understand. Women go to the doctor all the time. When it's necessary, when it's not necessary, because women, they also have other stuff going on, and women get pregnant and they got to go to the doctor for themselves and for the baby and the prenatal care. For them, it's commonplace, a little bit more so than it is for us. I think men try to hide behind this toughness, like, oh, I'm tough. I've seen a lot of tough people die real young. So don't try to be so tough. All right? Go to the doctor, fellas. Colonoscopies, it's nothing. I just talked to one of my colleagues that works here at Good Karma Brands. She's in her 60s and says she was going in for her first colonoscopy. I'm thinking to myself, it might be too late for you. Hell, I got my first one in my 40s. It's nothing. It's just, you go to sleep. The preparation, which I'll spare you, that's the only part that's slightly inconvenient, but it's not that big of a deal. But it's good to know because colon cancer has taken a lot of us out. Chadwick Boseman died. He died young, colon cancer. And it's starting to appear there's something going on in this nation right now where cancers that we weren't seeing, if ever, we weren't seeing them until people were much, much older. Colon cancer is impacting people in their 20s now. And you don't want that. You don't want any kind of cancer. Trust me, my father died of cancer, but he was 82, though.
It's the food.
Food, sedentary lifestyle, anxiety, stress, depression, all of those. Genetics, too. There's a genetic marker. Like, there's some people that can smoke cigarettes until they're 90 and then die in a car accident. And then there's some people that, get cancer and get leukemia when they're 2-3 years old. So please take your health very seriously. I'm going to take a break, come back. I want to look at the Trump administration from a different lens, because we obviously talk about not just him, but the impacts that he has on people and on workers and on people's career trajectories and the economy, because these will be the long-lasting effects that we'll have to deal with long after he is gone. And so I want to examine him not by what he says, by what is happening quietly that are not, these things that are not making news and not making headlines. And there's something that is happening amongst the federal workforce. I know I shared information similar to this with you before, but there's something even more sinister. And I want the African Americans who maybe they did or maybe they still support Donald Trump to listen very carefully to these next segments that I'm about to share with you, because he is targeting us and his administration is targeting us, or he is putting people in place that are targeting us as black people specifically. And it's so bad that African Americans are now starting to sue him, sue federal government departments because of the overt and intentional anti-black discrimination that is taking place in the Trump administration. So I'm not telling black folks that they made any kind of a mistake in voting for Donald Trump, but I'm just going to share with you what he is actually doing to people that look like us. And I know some of you are still going to stand behind your decision to support him, and you may still support him again in the future if you get the opportunity, but just know what you're getting yourself into. I'll share some details on the other side. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Our children deserve a real chance to make it in life, and a good education is a passport to opportunity. At City Ford Collective, we're working to make sure there's a great Milwaukee school for every Milwaukee family, because more good options lead to better outcomes. And who doesn't want that? Together, we can give every child the foundation they need to thrive, and a stronger future for kids means a stronger future for Milwaukee. To learn more about our mission, visit us at cityfordcollective.org. That's cityfordcollective.org.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer, providing equal employment, development, and advancement opportunities to all teammates and applicants. To learn more about careers with us, please send an email to talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com. That's talentacquisition@goodkarmabrands.com.
Tap into the best power hour in radio in Milwaukee.
So altogether, you're looking at $1,780 for your mortgage and for your property taxes in a year. And that's before you have to deal with, obviously, your water bill and electric bill. That's a steep price that people have to pay. And based off those numbers I just ran, to afford a home like that, you got to make $65,000 a year. But the problem is, here in Milwaukee, the median household income is only $54,234. That's out of whack. So again, I am all about affordability. I'm all about people getting homes. But what we have to understand is that until homes are more affordable, you can have a supply and demand problem. But the problem that we have here in the city of Milwaukee is that these prices, when people are listing these houses, they're listing them for prices that people really can't afford. And even if you do get the house and you're paying that, you're living paycheck to paycheck. Home ownership is not about living paycheck to paycheck. Home ownership is about finding something that fits within your budget and building equity for the future.
Catch Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace every weekday from noon to 1 p.m. on 101.7 The Truth and The Truth app.
As parents, we have a million things running through our minds. Playdates, checkups, groceries, laundry, diapers, work, carpool schedules, picture day, swim team, did we mention diapers, birthday parties, meal prep, lost permission slips, dentist appointments, and the dog that still needs to be walked. So it's easy to make a mistake. Oh, I forgot birthday candles. Sit tight, hon, I'll be right back. We say we'd never put our kids in danger by leaving them in the car alone. Oh, wait, since when are candles not on the baking aisle? But never happens. And temperatures as low as 60 degrees can be deadly for children left behind. So always bring them with you, and every time you park the car, stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I like them cool and kinda cocky, not too much to make you move. And try to lock me, try to take away the juice. You cannot stop it, gotta understand the rules. I've been the type to wear the heart on my sleeve. Been the one to always choose the wrong play. Not the type to ever see me lonely. I keep my socks on during loving. In and out, baby, in and out.
One of the first things that Trump did is they suppressed the individuals that track racial and demographic data amongst federal employees. And they did this on purpose. The federal government it used to be an excellent source of demographic information about who works for the federal government, who works in what departments, their ages, their races, their genders, because they track this almost incessantly. And Donald Trump got rid of all the individuals that aggregate that data. Now, you can still find it, but they make it much, much harder, where before you could just go to different websites and different information clearinghouses and find out information about who's working for the federal government, demographic data, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the first thing that they did, which this was during his flurry of executive orders in January of 2025 to kind of let us know what was happening, because if we cannot access the data of who and the race and the gender of people that work in federal departments, then it's harder for us to determine why more black people are out of work and why poverty is going up and why home foreclosures will be going up and why defaults on car loans are going up and why people are getting evicted. So you want to be able to trace the reasons why that data is going to start to look that way. And if the federal government is laying off a disproportionate number of people, at least you could trace part of the economic downturn that we know is going to hurt the African-American community to that. But the Trump administration doesn't want you to be able to trace it to them. Because when black folks are out of work and their homes are being foreclosed on and they're being evicted and their cars are being repossessed, if you don't have the data that shows that we are being targeted and fired, you're just going to think that black folks are lazy and don't pay their bills. That is a part of the sophisticated and elegant racism that exists. It's a lot of stuff that you don't see. Like, you don't see the details on the mechanics of it, but you see the output, which is an African-American community that, here we go again, a whole nother generation where it seems like we are in economic shambles. All right. I got so much information here. Documented removal and suppression of race disaggregated federal workforce data dates back to the early days of Trump version 2.0. However, I've got the best available administrative data, labor market statistics, agency level composition, and credible estimates, where I have a high confidence and evidence-based approximation of the scale of what we call separations distributed by race. First, let's look at the scale of the federal workforce, the contraction of the federal workforce. 238,000 net federal jobs in 2025 alone. The Trump administration cut 10.3% of the federal workforce. Keep this in mind as I get deeper into this information. Percentage-wise, black people are overrepresented in the federal government. We are federal employees at a level that is higher than our percentage of the population in America. So let's use a good estimate and say that black people are 14% of the American population. Of that 14%, some of us are old and retired. Of that 14%, some of us are children. Of that 14%, some of us are unable to work for a variety of different reasons. And of that 14% of the total African-American population in America, some of us are incarcerated. So now you're maybe only looking at 6, 7, if we're lucky, 8% of the African-American community that is of prime working age, not in prison, doesn't have any barriers, et cetera, et cetera. We're like 20% of the federal workforce, but maybe at the best case scenario, 8% of the overall American workforce. So we're like double, 2.5 times represented in the federal government employment, where the average salary is about $90,000 a year. Please keep that in mind. That is middle-class employment. And if we are over-indexed as federal workers, when you cut the federal workforce by any number, let alone a number of 238,000, actually, I got an estimate here that says 355,000 total jobs were cut through buyouts, layoffs, attrition, and through DOGE, you are disproportionately and intentionally harming African Americans because we are over-indexed as federal employees. All right. It says black workers are 18.6 to 19% of the federal workforce. Federal employment over-indexed black workers relative to their share of the U.S. labor force. Many heavily targeted agencies like the VA, Health and Human Services, and Housing and Urban Development had above average black employment share. So we are 25% of VA employees, Health and Human Services employees, Housing and Urban Development employees, and in the Department of Education. And you know they've been wanting to cut the Department of Education since the beginning. One of the reasons why is because there's a lot of black folks that work for the U.S. Department of Education. Now, Republicans have always wanted to shed that federal department, but it makes even more sense for the Trump administration because African-American employees are over-indexed in the U.S. Department of Education. Agency targeting. The Donald Trump administration concentrated in agencies with high black employment shares. So the positions that they cut in the departments, they looked at the blackest employment levels first, and that's where they began their cuts. Black workers are overrepresented in administrative roles, program support, veteran services, and social service agencies within and funded by the federal government. Hundreds of thousands of black women lost federal jobs. I've shared that information with you on previous programs. 300,000 black women left the labor force in 2025 alone, strongly tied to cuts in the federal workforce. You're going to love this part. During the same time period that 300,000 African American women, I haven't gotten to the men yet, the 300,000 black women lost their jobs in 2025, with the overwhelming majority of them being cut from federal government roles in different federal departments. White men gained 365,000 jobs. Stop. Essentially, the jobs that black women lost were downsized from, fired from, funding cuts ended those jobs were essentially given to white men. White men gained 365,000 jobs in the same time period that black women lost 300,000. Hispanic women gained 176,000 new jobs in the federal government. Like, how are you just cutting the black people and hiring white people and Hispanics? White women gained 142,000 jobs. Black women had the only net job loss of any other measured racial demographic group. If layoffs were race neutral, only 57,000 black women would have been laid off. Instead, it was 300,000. So this is just if they just downsize the federal government using reasonable budget cutting measures and means, but instead 5 times the amount of black women lost their jobs in the Trump administration compared to if they just downsized the federal government without looking at race. Agencies cut had 20 to 30% black workforce shares. Cuts disproportionately hit those agencies. A reasonable weighted estimate is that the black share of layoffs was 30%. Applying that 300 to 350,000 black separations, estimated black federal separations were better than 100,000. Percentage of African American layoffs is 28%. Percentage of Asian layoffs, 5%. Percentage of Hispanic layoffs, 8%. Black layoffs were 28%. Even though white workers lost more jobs in absolute numbers because they are the majority, black workers experience a disproportionately high rate of job loss relative to their workforce share. These cuts made by the Trump administration were not demographically neutral. Targeted agencies equal higher black workforce share, result disproportionate impact on black workers. Black women were the most affected subgroup. Across all sources, they have the highest unemployment increases, largest labor market forced exits, and heavy concentrations in affected roles. Federal workforce equals, so before 2025, so Biden, the federal workforce was one of the most racially diverse sectors in the entire U.S. economy. Post-Biden, decline in black separation represents one of the largest demographic shifts in unemployment in the last 50 years of American history. There has been a shift toward a wider and more privatized workforce. A lot of times when you privatize some of these positions and you give them to contractors, those positions are never re-added to the federal government. A reduction in public sector and middle-class employment, which are pathways for black workers to achieve the American dream. While exact counts are unavailable, the best evidence indicates that black federal employees, particularly black women, experience disproportionately high rates of separation, likely accounting for just under 30% of all job losses in the federal government, and we're 19% of the federal workforce. Think about this for a second. Black women were 19% of the federal workforce, but accounted for just under 30% of the people that were fired. This implies a measurable contraction in black representation within the federal employment during the first phase of the second Donald Trump term. And then I've got a story here from the New Republic. Trump is sued for firing most black officials in government. I'm going to take a break, come back, and talk about that. At least we're fighting back and trying to sue this dude. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tune into the award-winning 1017 The Truth Business Spotlight with Sweet Talks Med and Spa this Thursday at 3:57 p.m. between the Tory Lowe Show and Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris. We'll be joined by Operations Manager Maddie, who will discuss Sweet Talks Med and Spa's non-surgical anti-aging and wellness treatments and how every service is customized to fit your individual needs. Again, that is the Business Spotlight this Thursday with Sweet Talks Med and Spa at 3:57 p.m. right here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 10 and 35%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Still think you're going to use those old chemicals just sitting around under the sink, in the garage, or down in the basement? So don't let them sit there. Get rid of them right away to MMSD's Home Hazmat Drop-Off Centers. It's safe, it's easy, and it's open to all Milwaukee County residents. There are 3 locations open year-round. The Tory Lowe Community Cleanup is happening April 18th and with a mobile drop-off to help you clear out that waste. Visit us at MLK Elementary School at 3275 North 3rd Street from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Let's clean up Milwaukee.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. You might miss someone who has valuable skills to offer to help your business thrive right now and in the future. Because the truth is this: Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. When you let their story unfold, you gain a competitive advantage because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. See the real person, complete. See what others miss. Hire skills first. Learn why it's a competitive advantage at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
Prizes, exclusive experiences, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting truthcontests.com. That's truthcontests.com.
Happy kids heal faster, and that's why Starlight is dedicated to improving the mental well-being of sick kids across the U.S. Learn how at starlight.org.
Gruber Law Offices, a proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Different style, different fashion, you know? Tell me, say one thing Nancy can't understand. One thing Nancy can't understand. What make them a talk about me ambition? Say what make them a talk about me ambition? Come and say some of them a ask me when me get
A black former federal employee is suing the Trump administration, claiming he was fired because of his race. Alvin Brown, a Democratic member of the National Transportation Safety Board nominated by President Biden, was fired from his post in May of last year. In his lawsuit filed with the U.S. District Court on Tuesday, Brown said that political differences should not have been the main reason for his firing from the NTSB. Brown's lawyers, who work for the Democracy Forward Foundation, also claim that 75% of black officials at an independent agency have been... Oh, my God. Hang on a second. 75% of black officials at independent agencies connected to the federal government have been fired under Trump. That seems like a lot. Quote, Mr. Brown's removal from the NTSB cannot be explained by the fact that Mr. Brown is a Democrat and President Trump might have wanted to exert Republican control over that board, the lawsuit states. At the time of Mr. Brown's removal from the NTSB, there were two other Democrats serving on the board, both of whom were white. So hang on, hold on. You leave the white Democrats, you fire the black one, and then this actually is new information. I don't know if I missed this when I read this article this morning. 75% of the individuals who have been fired from so the NTSB technically is independent because they're the Transportation Safety Board, but presidents get to select who's on them. And yes, there's a partisan affiliation, but ultimately, airline and aircraft safety is nonpartisan. Think about how many plane crashes and planes hitting each other and planes running each other on the runway we've had since this Trump administration. 75% of black officials at independent agencies have been fired under Trump. Mr. Brown's removal from the NTSB cannot be explained by the fact that Mr. Brown is a Democrat and President Trump might have wanted to exert Republican control over the board. Brown's removal from the NTSB, while there were two other Democrats serving on the board who were white. Since Brown's firing was racially motivated, the lawsuit alleges it therefore violated Mr. Brown's constitutional rights under the Fifth Amendment. The lawsuit also points to people of color being dismissed at agencies, including the National Labor Relations Board, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. You know, the people that we as black people go to, the agency and the federal government, when we've been discriminated against at our jobs. Now, Trump is firing the black people from the agency that investigates when black people are discriminated against. See, they don't tell you all this stuff on the campaign trail. He just says, I'm a businessman, and Kamala Harris is bad. And then this is all the other stuff that you get that I know a lot of you are saying, but I didn't vote for this. Yes, you did. You voted for his worst impulses on his worst day. Every single day for at least the next 4 years. So yes, you did vote for exactly this. The lawsuit cited Trump's attacks on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and the fact that Brown's replacement, John DeLue, is white. Quote, President Trump has removed black Senate-confirmed appointees. He has either nominated a non-black individual for their replacement or has not formally replaced them at all. This trend fits with Trump's consistent messaging criticizing diversity and inclusion and his clear, demonstrable emphasis on hiring white people when African Americans are terminated. So, I mean, maybe it's a coincidence that 75% of the people that were Senate confirmed that Donald Trump has excised from different ranks of the federal government, including from independent agencies, have been black. Maybe, are you blacks just lazier? Could that be what it is? The blacks are not doing the work and the white people are doing the work? I'm trying to figure out how they cut at minimum 10% of the federal workforce, which, let's be clear, is millions of people in the federal workforce. Like the entire military, the whole Pentagon, all the federal agencies, the Environmental Protection Agency, the NTSB, the Department of the Interior. These are all federal employees, right? There's millions of them. And of the 10% so far reduction in the federal workforce, 300,000 black women lost their jobs, but 365,000 white men gained jobs, 176,000 Latinas gained jobs, and 142,000 Caucasian women gained jobs while they're cutting the federal workforce. Now remember, more African Americans are represented in the federal workforce, more percentage-wise than our population. And so when you cut, especially across the board, but it seems like these cuts are much more specific and targeted, you are harming African Americans. But isn't this also diversity, equity, and inclusion? Whenever there's a black person working in the federal government, that's got to be DEI, right? It's not because of their education, their resume, or their qualifications. It's just got to be because they're black. There implies a measurable contraction in black representation within federal employment directly connected to the second term of Donald Trump's presidency. So I think it was Locked and Lovely brings up. Yes. Dr. Erica Schwartz has been nominated as head of the CDC. She is an African-American woman, and we find this very unusual, right? Because if Donald Trump is anti-DEI, and we see the numbers of African-American women who have lost their positions in the federal government, why? Now, here's the thing. Trump still has to approve the nomination of Dr. Erica Schwartz. Also, keep this in mind. In the event that Donald Trump approves the nomination of a black woman to lead the CDC, she, Dr. Schwartz, will still be under the auspices of RFK Jr. Now, remember, the head of the CDC is the one that will take a tremendous amount of criticism from the administration. Look at Dr. Anthony Fauci and how they demonized him when he was trying to get us through COVID. Also, you have Dr. Anthony Fauci to thank for all of these PrEP vaccines for HIV. That was all him. Like, he was not a bad dude. But I'm cautious, and I'm going to give you some more details on the other side about maybe this is a sham nomination or suggestion for Dr. Erica Schwartz to lead the CDC, because if you look who Donald Trump has thrown under the bus more than anybody else in his second term has been women, whether it be Kristi Noem, whether it be Pam Bondi, et cetera. So nominating an African-American woman to lead the CDC could be all smoke and mirrors. Let's discuss that on the other side. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Milwaukee business owners, this is your moment. Every Friday at 8 a.m., call in to 101.7 The Truth for What the Business Is. Tell us what your business is, where you're located, and one thing you've learned along the way. What the Business is powered by We Energies, delivering the energy that powers local business. Fridays at 8 a.m. on 101.7 The Truth. Fridays at 8 a.m. on 101.7 The Truth.
The pulse of the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend.
Can't get it off. Marcus Johnson will, though. Can't leave him alone for a 12.
Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson on Bucks Plus. Marcus and his son Chris offer a weekly beat on Bucks basketball. Get your questions answered and hear from the biggest names in basketball. Find Here District with Marcus Johnson at bucks.com/plus on the Bucks app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Want to protect our planet? The air we breathe, water we drink, and land we share? Real progress begins with birds. Yes, birds. The very ones we see and hear every day. On a walk, in the park, or simply out the window. That's because birds are more than birds. They're symbols, sentinels that reveal the health of our planet and our people. And by helping them thrive, all of us thrive as well. Audubon is a place where birds matter, where habitats are protected, where communities are engaged, and where change takes flight. Because at Audubon, hope begins with birds. Progress begins with birds. It all begins with birds. Audubon.
70 million people in the U.S. have learning and thinking differences, like ADHD and dyslexia. Each has their own story. This is ours. At first, I thought it was just a phase. Then schoolwork became a struggle. Emotions got bigger, and my kids started falling behind. I felt alone, like I was lost in the dark trying to find answers. Then I learned about Understood.org, a nonprofit empowering parents and kids like us. It was like we had a light to show us the path ahead. Whenever new challenges came up, their guidance helped us figure out our next step. We still have tough days, but now we have direction. And I have the tools and resources I need to help my child thrive. No matter where you are on the path, Understood can help you keep moving forward. Visit understood.org/yourpath today.
You are listening to the home of Milwaukee's realest conversations. 1017 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. I got a voicemail. Checked it while we were on our very brief commercial intermission. It was from the cardiology department of Columbia St. Mary's Hospital. Sherwin, we would like to inform you that your stress tests came back as normal. Continue doing what you're doing. All right, your boy is going to live. Now, hold on. That don't mean that y'all can stress me out. Okay? I don't even know why I'm yelling. I'm over here stressing myself out. That's all I needed to hear. That my stress test is normal.
You're just happy you're healthy.
I mean, I'm not having a heart attack today, basically, is what it said. But no blockages in the arteries, and I probably should still have a higher fiber, lower fat diet. In fact, I've got a very good friend who is in town. His father is sick. His pops is in Chicago, so please pray for my friend's pops. But he's coming up. I haven't seen my guy in probably 20 years, and he's coming up tonight. We're going to grab dinner. I know I'm going to eat unhealthy. I already know it.
What are you going to get?
Oh, I'm probably going to get a steak. In fact, I know I'm going to get a steak because I suggested we come here. Whenever I got people that are from Milwaukee or they haven't been here in a long time or they remember the Grand Avenue, I recommend this place because you got to see it. If you haven't seen the 3rd Street Market Hall since it's been the 3rd Street Market Hall, and plus there's a whole bunch of stuff to do here, and any restaurants you could ever hope for is here, or whatever type of food you're in the mood for is here. And I was like, hey man, let's go to the market hall, and then I can give him a tour of the radio station. He was like, nah, buddy, I want a steak. We going to get some steaks.
You like coming back to work?
You think I come here and work?
Well, it just feels like, I don't know.
No, the hell, trust me, Xavier, when I'm in here doing what I'm doing, and also this isn't work for me. I have fun doing this. But me coming back here to hang out there ain't the same as me being in here. It's not like I work at a factory where, I'm going back to the factory to hang out. No. There's a bar here and about 15, 20 different restaurants. It's a very social atmosphere. And also, let me tell you something about this place. It's slept on for the amount of attractive women that we have here.
I was going to say, do you bring dates here?
Trying to think if I ever have. Yeah, I think I have. But I don't like to bring sand to the beach.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I brought. It's a nice place to take a date. Because there's a lot of stuff to do. They got little games. They got video games here. And you can look at our different radio stations, studios. You got all sorts of stuff going on here. But yeah, I was going to suggest me and my guy just come here and kick it. But no, he said he want to get him a steak. So we're going to get us a steak tonight, which is how you celebrate having a cardiac stress test come back normal. Because I'll be honest with y'all, I thought they was going to find something. I'm 51. I'm black. And that's the perfect combination to get bad news. This is what I think people are missing when they're afraid to go to the doctor and get a checkup, because we're always fearing bad news. Like, oh, if I don't go to the doctor, then I won't get the bad news. Bad news sucks, right? But they also give you things you can do to improve your health. So keep that in mind. So please don't be scared. But there's no better feeling than when you get good news. And that is what a lot of us are missing out on. It changes your whole perspective. It makes you take your health a lot more serious. Now, I was a little nervous because the last time I went to a hospital was to visit my pops, and he was not doing so good. And so I had a little anxiety going in, but everybody at Columbia St. Mary's was nice. I don't know what it was, because with Columbia St. Mary's, and that's the hospital I go to, it's kind of inconsistent, because I've been there before and where I thought everybody there was trying to kill me. But then I've also been there before where nurses have cuddled me and read me stories. It's just the inconsistency is what gets me, because you never know what kind of nurse you're going to get. Oh, good Lord. Look who's on line one.
Hello, Sherwin. Listen, don't be so proud that you're not telling us you're not wearing that thing around your neck at home. Now, when you yell like that just a minute ago, that's what came to mind. Are you wearing, because there was something when you was out that day and they had to take you out. Now, why don't you tell us that you're wearing that thing around
Bob, hold on. First of all, people don't know what you're talking about when you say that thing around your neck. So for all of you that are listening and have no idea what Bob is talking about, which is typical, Bob wants me to wear a life alert around my neck. You know, from the commercial, I've fallen and I can't get up. I'm not going to wear no life alert. And also, if you don't want me yelling and screaming on the air, then you need to stop calling.
No, you're funny. You're
Bob,
funny, but I won't.
Don't make me have to scream at you.
Okay, but wear the thing at home when you by yourself, because if you fall, no one knows, man. Wear it around the house.
What do you wear around your damn neck? Yeah, I feel like putting a noose around your neck. You got a life alert? What's around your neck, Bob?
You mean to tell me you don't wear it? Now, my mother fell on Saturday. My sisters didn't get in touch with her till Sunday. They tried to call her Saturday, and she was laying on
Bob,
the floor.
how old is your mother? How old is she?
Oh, she's gone now, but they did that. She's been gone about 5 or 6 years. But
how old was she?
At home,
how old was she?
She was about 80, 81, 82. I don't know, But why don't you wear that at home, man? You need to wear that at home, because can't nobody reach you. You're down and out. People will be knocking on the door, ringing the bell. I've seen you go out at your place, and they helped you. And I was glad.
I almost wish that never happened on air, because Bob is never going to shut up about it. I understand it worried a lot of people. I was back at work in 3 days. It was fine. Relax, Bob.
No, it wasn't fine. Not the way
Bob,
you...
we need to be more worried about you. That's who I need, because you already had about 17 strokes, and I don't know what else is wrong with you mentally. I think you probably got a little taste of the tism. I feel like you got a little tism. You ever been diagnosed with tism? You ever been to a tism doctor?
Sure.
What?
Why don't people like Biden? I like Biden. Because, and eventually tell us you're wearing that thing around your neck. But why don't Biden, he really tried to get rid of institutional racism the best way he knew how. and I seen him getting older, and it was sad in a way, but he didn't lose that debate. He just was surprised the moderator didn't check Trump lying so much. He was surprised as much as that man lies, and then Biden was just awed at it, you know. And, you know, I don't know why people don't like Biden, but he's a good president,
Bob,
man.
you know
I like Biden.
You actually, come to think of Joe Biden, you remind me of Joe Biden. In fact, you're like a black Joe Biden because the way you just change subjects and switch directions and add stuff in the conversation that don't make sense to anybody but you remind me of Joe Biden on that debate stage, shocked and confused. No.
It's because you and Dr.
Did you see most recently Joe Biden saw it was a black man? Joe Biden was at some event. And he just sees some black man standing behind him and called the black man Barack Obama. Are you Barack? You look like Barack Obama. Everybody watch. Look at this guy. Yeah, he does. What?
The reason I changed subjects is because you and that aggravating Dr. Ken always change subjects when you are checked, when you are checkmated. You'll move no matter what, and you are checkmated.
Bob, I have a feeling that you don't even know how to play chess.
Oh, yeah, I know how to play chess. Checkmating you, it can't be done. You and that Dr. Ken, y'all always find a way to move, and it's sad. And I guess I'll talk to you later, sir, because you're getting too aggravated. Won't check yourself at home. You know, check yourself at home, sir. Talk to you later.
What did he check you on?
I don't think he even knows what he's talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever want to know what early signs of dementia, it's very funny. I mean, not funny. It's very serious. I mean, we laugh, but it's not funny. It's very not funny. If Bob happens to go missing, don't come looking in my basement.
Why would you put him in your basement?
I'm not saying that I would.
Yeah, just throw him in the
Not saying that I wouldn't, but something got to be done. In fact, Dr. Ken would probably help me because, you know, he's a former cop and he knows how you get away with stuff. So if y'all don't hear Bob for a couple of weeks, don't get a search warrant from my house. But I'd have to feed him, though.
Oh, you're gonna keep him prisoner
for a little while. He got to learn a lesson. I think he's getting a little bit too big for his old britches. You know what I mean?
Silence of the Lamb style.
He said his mother died 5 years ago at the age of 80. Bob is 71. So his mother would have been, if she's still alive, let's say 85. So she was 14. That explains a lot. Who is this? Who is this?
Hello?
Hello? Hi.
This is Sandra.
Hey, Sandra.
Hi, Sherwin. How are you?
I'm good. I thought it was Bob calling back. I was about to get in his tail.
Don't hurt Bob. He's a sweet little guy. He just keeps you on your toes, that's all. He says something different from everybody else, that's for sure. But anyhow, yeah, that's him. But anyhow, so, okay, you listing all the stuff that the Trump administration is cutting for black people, the racist stuff that he's doing. Okay, now what's supposed to happen now that he's doing all of this? Because in my mind, when we're seeing all of this, I know it relates to crime. I know it relates to prisons because a lot of his boys own private prisons. And so what's supposed to happen when you look for it now? When I got my job, I went to Urban League. And I told you how old I was. And that was years ago. So I went to Urban League, and all that racism was going on. So they had to report to Urban League if they hired, me or not.
What year was this?
So I started, actually the job I went to Urban League for was in 1969. And I got the job at Allen Bradley. Before then, I was working at other places. Like, I don't know, I first started out as clerical at Marquette. And then I kind of bounced around a little bit. I did a little restaurant work. And then when I went down to Urban League, I got the job at Allen Bradley, and but it was this thing with what he's cutting out now. I guess they had to report that they had so many blacks, and so it set up a nice little scenario.
And the people that keep track
but what's supposed to happen? That's
the demographics in the federal government. The people of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, all of them have been fired. 300,000 African-American women, but 365,000 white men have received their jobs. So if you're asking what's supposed to happen now, I have no idea, Sandra. I don't know what's going to happen this evening, let alone tomorrow. I also know this, the Urban League.
Do you think crime is going to rise, though? Do you think crime is going to rise?
Oh, God, yeah. Crime is already on the rise.
I mean, with the children. These people have children. And I'm saying if they don't have a job, well, they can probably find a little something that won't pay as much as what they have. But the kids, a lot of times, kids suffer behind the poverty.
Correct. We would have a rise in crime problem and a lower employment problem just based on the fact that the African-American community is not producing the kind of workforce that we need to be successful and competitive in an AI-driven world. So take away, Trump is going to make it worse. But we already don't have enough people that are literate and are pursuing higher education and technical education to be competitive in the job market. So even if Kamala Harris was president, we still would be dealing with some of that stuff. If you want to know where crime is going, look at the output of our current system of public education, where something like 91% of the black children are not proficient in reading. You ain't going to get no job if you can't read. So is crime going to rise? Yes. Are there going to be diminished opportunities for African Americans in the federal government and federal contracting? Again, yes. Could that potentially contribute to worsening crime statistics? Absolutely. Will there be less federally funded support services? Also, absolutely. So to answer your question, But that was the point. Because anything related to black people is diversity, equity, and inclusion, and Donald Trump ran specifically on eliminating that, but he didn't really define it as programs that were like, oh, we got to hire this many black people and this many Asian people. Any minority, especially black women, he's just going to fire. So we voted for it. So somebody
told us, though.
He just sure did. Yeah.
But he told us what he was going to do.
That's right.
And that's why I'm sitting up here saying how, weak can we people be? So, okay, we just have to see what goes on. But I know what's going to go on because I'm a future teller.
You're who?
A future. I can tell you what's going to happen to black people in the future.
Oh, I'm glad that you can tell the future.
A fortune teller?
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye. Yeah, I think she meant fortune teller. She said a future teller. Okay. I asked her when she went to the Urban League. She said 1969 when Nixon was president. The Urban League used to be, well, I don't know what they do now. They existed in northern cities for a specific purpose, to help African Americans who were migrating from the South to adjust to life in the North. They would help black folks find apartments and opportunities and employment. They would help us enroll our kids in school. So they were like a transition organization. They don't do that anymore. I know I was a member of the Urban League for 1 year. I paid membership dues, and I never even got an invitation to the black and white ball for whatever it was I paid in my Urban League membership dues. But I only joined just to be supportive of the organization. But I didn't even get like a newsletter. So I was like, I'm just not going to renew. But I'd imagine the Urban League has shifted its mission because they do not occupy the same role in society that they once did. The Department of Health and Human Services has recommended Dr. Erica Schwartz, a deputy U.S. Surgeon General during President Donald Trump's first term, to lead the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, according to two people familiar with the matter. So she is an African-American woman. The CDC director pick is not final. Wait a minute. What year is this? The Department of Health and Human Services has recommended Dr. Erica Schwartz, a deputy U.S. Surgeon General during President Trump's first term. So they recommended her in the first term. A spokesperson for HHS did not respond. So she got denied during the first term and they're recommending her again, which is odd. All right, I'm going to take a break, come back, talk to Al on the other side. Maybe he's got some great insights for us. Al, hold on. Listen, Al, look. Don't keep it all the way 100. Because I was listening to yesterday's replay when I was coming back home from St. Mary's, and Al had a doozy of a call on yesterday's replayed show. And when I'm here in the studio and I'm listening to Al, that's different because it feels like I'm just talking to him on the phone. When I'm in my vehicle and listening to the radio and I hear one of Al's calls, it hits way different. I was like, oh, I can't believe he said that on the air.
How did you feel?
A little embarrassed. I was like, oh, boy, I could see how someone could be offended by that. Because it's different when you're in the studio. And that's what I tell junior broadcasters or baby broadcasters. When we're here in the studio and we're talking and we're going back and forth, that's one thing. Listening to yourself back is another. I sometimes hate some of the stuff that I say. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. Like when I use mild profanity, like to me, I'm just having casual conversation. But when I listen to it, I'm like, oh, I could see how that would make somebody angry that I said that. So, Al, I'm just giving you fair warning. Al, put it at about a 6.5. Don't be all the way at 10. I'm just going to bring it down to about a 6.5. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, it's that time of year again for the Tory Lowe Community Cleanup. Mark your calendars for Saturday, April 18th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. as we'll be cleaning up the city on the walk. You can also safely get rid of hazardous household items thanks to MMST. Drop off your items from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at MLK Elementary School. We're talking things like all antifreeze, paint thinners, batteries, and pesticides. Sign up now at ToryLoweCleanup.com. The Tory Lowe Community Cleanup is sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, Steinhoffels, Cousin Sub, and Waste Management. At Milwaukee College Prep, we don't leave success to chance. We're designed for it. With strong support, high expectations, and a team committed to excellence, our educators turn belief into outcomes every day. If you believe every child deserves an excellent education, join Milwaukee College Prep. Apply today. Visit mkeprep.com/jobs.
Want to save money on energy bills? With free tools from We Energies, you're in control. Manage your energy use with easy tips. Earn rebates on home upgrades, calculate your energy use, create savings goals, view and compare bills, and more. With We Energies, the energy info you need is at your fingertips. Save your way at WeEnergies.com/simple savings or download the app. We Energies. Simple steps, real savings.
When I was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma, I had so many questions. I didn't even know that it was cancer. Now I do. It is cancer. Blood cancer. It's actually one of more than 100 different types, and they're all treated differently. Now, unlike some other forms of cancer, usually there's no tumor. You can't screen for it to prevent it, and the symptoms can look like other things, so it could be hard to diagnose. I had a fever for weeks. I was so tired all the time. I didn't feel like eating or doing anything else for that matter. And I know that this can feel scary. But if you know what to look out for, you'll know what to tell your doctor. And you'll feel more empowered to take the next steps. Like getting in touch with the people who know the ins and outs and can help with everything blood cancer related. Blood Cancer United. They work one-on-one with each person who reaches out to answer questions and offer resources. Blood Cancer United was there for me, and they can be there for you.
Go to bloodcancerunited.org to learn more.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tune into the award-winning 1017 The Truth's Milwaukee Business Spotlight today at 3:57 p.m. Kyle Wallace will be joined by Maddie Herbert, Operations Headmaster at Sweet Talks Med Spa. They will be discussing the total Sweet Talks experience and how you could get your self-love journey started. So again, tune into the Milwaukee Business Spotlight with Sweet Talks Med Spa today at 3:57 p.m. on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Al, you're on 1017 The Truth. How are you today?
I'm doing all right, and I hope you are as well, doing okay. But you know what, Mr. Hughes? Let them be offended. So what? They should be offended at the fact that a white woman don't want them to flood their vessel with their seed. But they're not offended that they're sitting here putting black people in their homemade bull sugar honey iced tea. They should be offended that the slave master wife caught the slave man in the garage with the 3 slaves who opened his ass up like a whirlpool oven. They should be offended about that. But see, they will sit here and get all these problems with black people and Mexicans who don't even care if you walk, talk, and fart and choke on your goddamn tongue. But my question is, why they don't go after the Moby Dick of the ocean? Why they don't go after the big fish? Why they don't do that? Y'all messing with black people and Mexicans. So my question to you racists, since y'all got all this beef, why y'all don't take it up with the Jews? Why y'all don't take it up with them? They moving silently. They making all kind of kids. But every time something happens, you blaming black people. You blaming Mexicans. You don't say nothing to them. Or is it because you know you got little penises and you got low self-esteem and you have this theory complex that made you feel good that you can look down on blacks, that you still a mediocre bastard that graced this earth? That's what I need to know. Because you can take everything you want from black people and Mexicans. You still ain't good for sugar honey iced tea. You're still power bottoms. You're still paying for Thundercat whether you say I do or not. But you don't come with no real stuff. It'd be different if you come with facts. Y'all don't get mad at Christopher Columbus for bringing all these oversized goddamn rats. But you keep blaming us. You don't get mad that that little whore you raised for a daughter is up there giving away them stale vanilla wafers to them land lizards at the truck stop. That's why you're runaways and junkies. And that's why she didn't have no walls when she was 15, due to you raising your kids. But you want to keep bringing the drama to black people and Mexicans. So that's what I want to know. But when it comes to the Moby Dick of the sea, to the people who got the real power and the real money, I don't hear y'all screaming y'all AR-15s. I don't hear y'all talking about race wars. I don't hear y'all talking all these flags and stuff. Y'all the biggest pussy willows when it comes to them. But when it comes to us, we're not your disease, okay? Your disease is what you was raised with. And if you got problems, go take it up with your mammy and your grandpappy, because your beef ain't with us. Leave us the hell alone and get it together. And we don't have no problem with you buying dope and little midgets Thundercat at 2 o'clock in the morning. Have yourself a great day.
All right, you too. Thank you. Thanks, Al, for that.
That wasn't that offensive.
I told him to be at a 6.5, so that's what.
That's about a 6.5.
Wasn't gonna engage or entertain the Moby Dick commentary. So,
where do you go from here?
Adam.
Yes, sir.
Can you turn your radio down for us, Adam? We still hear Al in the background.
Oh, gee. Okay. Oh, wow. Not my radio is my TV. Yeah. But I just want to bring this up. You were talking about the Urban League?
Yes.
You remember Joanne Williams? Her dad was the head of Urban League when I first moved over here. And he's the one kept me to the job about driving city bus. But it wasn't a county bus then. It was privately owned. And I was about the 10th or 12th black person they hired.
Was that the late 50s, maybe early 60s?
Early 60s. Okay. Early 60s, yeah.
Times are a little bit different now. Not very much different, but a little bit different.
No. Well, you're right. Like you said, it was privately owned, and they wanted black. Like I said, Mr. Williams is the one that told me about the job. I just moved here. Then I got sick of it. I gained about 500 pounds.
Oh, you got fat driving the bus?
Yes, I did. God, did I ever.
Because you're just sitting, you're not really moving around. You're just driving the bus.
That's right. I went back to Louisiana. My people didn't know me. They teased me. Hey, man, what you play sports and all that? You got that big.
Black folks will let you know when you've gained weight. That's one thing we are good. We gained 5 pounds. You fat. You so fat. Shut up.
Yeah.
At least I know who my father is.
Well, yeah, I know mine. So, matter of fact, I got my birth certificate just in case Trump would say something about that polling place.
Good.
Well, anyway, and afterward, I went to. Now I got interested in driving a semi. I always did drive, but I never drove no semi. And I went to that Sun Prairie training school, and I got a job. Well, I worked for 3 or 4 companies, but the one I stuck with, I don't know if you remember, is CF Motor Freight. 28 and a half years there. And that was one of the greatest things for me.
Why do y'all think that I'm 75 years old when you call me? Y'all remember, you remember Joanne Williams' father? That was 60 years ago.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Man. You wait a minute.
I understand this. The company just closed in 2021.
I don't know. There's a lot of trucking companies. I never heard of them. I'm sure they're very good companies.
Well, I understand. This was the biggest one. And now they're trying to get. They got rid. I retired in August, and they closed the doors in September.
Well, you retired in August of last year?
Oh no, 2021. I told you.
How old were you when you retired?
I was 60.
You were not 60 years old in 2021.
Yes, I was.
Adam.
Yes, I was. I'm 84 now.
What is happening?
I told you that before. What do you mean?
You were 60 years old when you retired in 2021.
Yes, what I said.
Okay, and you're 84 now.
Right.
Okay. So you aged 23 years in the last 5 years?
2021. This is 2024 now. What's wrong with you?
It's 2026.
It's 2026, Adam.
Yeah. I retired in 2021.
At the age of what?
60.
And it's 2026, and you're how old? You're 84.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense to you?
Yes, it does.
All right. Makes sense?
Okay.
All right, then. All right. And he just hung up.
I guess Bob has some competition.
So everybody got dementia now. That's what... Y'all heard that, right? And then try to get mad at me thinking it's the year 2024.
Yeah, that was insane.
Oh, hold on. What? Who is this? I hear you breathing. Who is this?
I'm laughing.
Oh, hey, Linda. Sorry. Everybody making me mad.
No, this is not Linda. This is not Linda. This is Dion.
Oh, hi.
Y'all need to tell that man you need to tell him to sit down and get a pen and paper and write down what you're saying about the dates. Because he don't understand.
Well, Zach says somebody need to call the paramedics, and I'm thinking that's the route we need to go. And they got an attitude with me. I told you it's 2024. I retired in 2021 when I was 12. How old are you now? 84?
Oh, my.
I told you I worked on the Jameson plantation in 1865. I told you.
I mean, and then lastly, Al always has it going on. Always.
Don't encourage that, Dean.
And everybody have a good day.
All right, you too.
Hey. Bye.
All right, now. Al always got it going on. What's happening today?
I don't know. Maybe we did die.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. We're in hell. So COVID, this is my theory. COVID killed everybody. We're all dead, but we're in hell. Or our spirits are living in some kind of computer simulation. Because if you listen to this show, that theory makes a lot of sense. Now all I need is somebody to call in to say the earth is flat. That's all I need. All right. Got a damn Democratic socialist about to be the governor of Wisconsin. Yep, Oops, I didn't mean to rip this.
You helped lead the way.
I ain't do nothing. Don't blame me for nothing. None of this is my fault. So COVID killed everybody, and here we are, back in hell. Trump got reelected. Okay, The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Hi, I'm Greg Fritsch, president of the Center for Veterans Issues, inviting you to get involved in supporting the CVI mission. The Center for Veterans Issues is proud to serve veterans across Wisconsin. Each year, we help more than 1,200 veterans stay housed, find meaningful employment, and connect with the support they've earned. From housing assistance and job training to case management and suicide prevention outreach, our team is here to help veterans build stable, independent lives. If you're a veteran in need of support, visit cvivet.org. Donations can also be accepted at cvivet.org/donate.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Breaking down the issues that shape our city and our future.
If oil gets to $90 a barrel, I'll be able to pay off my house. I think war is awful. It's terrible. It doesn't resolve things. It creates long-lasting hatred and even more conflict that the American people are always going to find themselves involved in.
It's The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 to noon.
But if I don't have a mortgage, you know what I mean? You take the good with the bad. Didn't Donald Trump say he was going to end the wars? You can't have America first if you're involved in all these foreign wars. And there's people that believed him when he said that. He doesn't like wars. He said it many times. Said it on the campaign trail.
Catch it live on YouTube or tune in to 1017 The Truth.
He's bombed just as much in his first year as any warmongering hawk president we've ever seen since World War II.
Listen to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
Hey there, Jane Lynch here. You want to hear something funny? Too bad. You want to hear something uplifting that will inspire you? Good. Because today, I want to talk to you about Direct Relief, a humanitarian organization that does seriously good work when it counts. Fires, hurricanes, earthquakes. When disaster strikes, Direct Relief immediately shows up with medicines, medical supplies, and everything doctors and nurses need to save lives. Let's ship her out! Every day across the United States and around the world, they're making an enormous difference. If someone needs help, Direct Relief helps. No politics, no red tape. Hey, what you doing over there?
Oh, I'm packing insulin for kids with diabetes.
See, every box here is literally a lifeline for someone in critical need. So check them out at directrelief.org and donate if you can. You might just bring a smile to someone's face.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I know Adam didn't call back to try to criticize me when he's the one that didn't even know what year it is. See, here's the thing. These folks be calling and messing with me. Do you understand that I'm here at my job? I'm providing information every single day, okay? And then y'all call me and mess with me. I'm not calling nobody and messing with nobody. Imagine if you all were at work. Some of you clearly ain't got no damn jobs. So that's problem number one. Number two is you call me and mess with me. See, y'all think it's sweet. That's what it is. Y'all think, oh, I hear Sherwin on the radio. He ain't nothing. He ain't nobody. He ain't gonna do nothing. Please don't let me catch you outside. Every now and again, I gotta remind a person that it ain't sweet. People be sending me stuff on Facebook. I'm going to see you.
What do they send you?
They be talking all sorts of me. Yeah, sure, when you're a stupid face. Yeah, all right, keep that same energy when I catch you slipping at the sports bar. Because then they see me in person, they turn into a big bag of sugar. Dude, you know I was just kidding, man. I love your show. I love when Al calls. I love when Bob... Shut up! No, keep that same energy when you was in my inbox, ho. Then they straighten up then because they don't want it in person because they see me in person. When I'm not smiling, I look mean. Don't play with me. And anybody can get it. That's the other thing. Elders thing, just because they old, they can talk crazy. No, you can't. Your age don't give you the ability to talk crazy. Please don't do that. Don't listen. It's called elder abuse for a reason now.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Do you believe in it?
Sometimes you gotta teach them a lesson. That thing is sweet too. I'm gonna get mad at me. He don't know what damn year it is. I'm talking about, oh, Sherwin, you make a lot of mistakes too. And tell you what, I dare and challenge any one of you 5 days a week, keep a conversation going for 3 hours straight. Oh, I've seen this microphone make the best of them fall. Oh, I could do what Sherwin do. He just up there just talking mess and making me say, come on, get you a radio show. I tell you what, fill in for me one day. Yeah, that's right. Y'all never look at this microphone the same, and I know you want to fill in. Actually, you'd run out of stuff to talk about probably after 15 minutes.
Oh no, I already have a whole show planned.
I bet you do. Well, we're looking forward to listening to your podcast. You get you a podcast. That's what I've told many a producer that. Oh, sure, when I'd have a whole bunch to say, Also, when I worked for a member of Congress, I thought I could be a congressman too because I worked for one. You ain't the first producer that said that, oh, sure, when I can do what you do. All right.
I didn't say that. I said I could fill in.
You can you can host the show for 3 hours. You have to be, because you can't be a step down. You got to be as good or better than me. So you can't have an average show because we don't do average here. Either it's stellar or take the day off altogether. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, no, it'll be a very lively show.
I bet it will. No, you don't really have boundaries.
Why do you say that?
Because you talk freaky stuff, too.
Do I?
Yeah. And plus, I don't think you like being on camera because I one day asked you to come in here. You tried to hide. Oh, you can't hide? So if you did a show, you'd have to be on camera for 3 hours.
Oh, yeah, I'd be masked up.
No, you wouldn't.
Like an Al-Qaeda video?
No, we don't do that. You'd be out here raw. Your face would have to raw dog. Nothing on your face. What am I even doing? What happened here? Like the show just fell apart. What is this here?
Pretty much after the Al call.
I already read that. The problem is y'all make me angry and I crumple up my papers. Because at least I know my stress test came back normal.
Yeah, that's always good.
Well, until I have another stress. Oh, Sherwin, what happened? From your last stress test to this one, your heart has gone under serious trauma. I said, because of Adam and Bob. And didn't I tell Al? I told him to tone it down.
He toned it down, I think. He says he said a lot of stuff before.
So I know I prayed to Jesus when I was on the treadmill yesterday, but I have questions about religion that no one can answer for me. Do we believe that slavery was good for black people? I think there'd be a consensus where the majority of us, maybe I should ask that question tomorrow on the YouTube. Well, what's today's question? I forgot. That's about the flooding. Let me see. We asked y'all if you got impacted by the flooding. Let me check this. Let me see. Were you impacted by the recent flooding in southeastern Wisconsin? We talked about that in the first part of the show. The first part of this show seems like it was 4 days ago. 67% said no, 33% said yes. I want to ask a question. Tell him to call back then. I'm not playing with him.
I'll call back at him.
Why you keep playing on the phone? You too old. Literally too old to be playing on the phone, Adam. Come on, man. Come on, Playboy. Relax. Everybody chill out now. Over here gonna call back 3 times. You know who does that? Women. Call back and hang up.
He has a reputation to protect, he says.
Was slavery bad for black people? I want to ask that question. Maybe we ask it tomorrow. if you think it was, then why would they give us something as good as Christianity? Do you ever think about that for a second? If everything that we got from the institution was death, torture, family separation, human trafficking, sex trafficking, horrendous atrocities that were committed against our minds and our bodies for hundreds of years, everything about the institution was poison. Can we agree on that? Most people would agree on that. Then why would they give us something good? Why would they give us the Bible? And why would they say the only day that we can take off is on Sunday so we can study the Bible? If everything else they gave us in the institution was horrible, then why would they give us something good? Why would they give us the keys to heaven? I'm not trying to shame y'all's religion. But if everything that we got from the institution was awful, I've even had this argument with people on the air. They're like, oh, Sherwin, we were Christians in Africa. No, the hell we were not. Christians did not enslave other Christians. The only Christianity that came to sub-Saharan Africa was brought by missionaries that beat us to death until we swallowed the Bible whole. So we got to be clear on that. Stop mixing it up. They gave us Christianity and we still hang on to it. Okay, fair enough. I'm not going to argue with your belief in Jesus and God and all the things. But if everything else that they gave us was poison for our souls, why would they give us religion? And why would they give us something good? I'm just asking y'all to think about that. I'm going to take a break and I'm going to calm down and give me a sip of water. Give me a sip.
Maybe they didn't want their slaves to burn in hell.
If anything, they gave us the keys of how we could get to heaven. But why would they tell us? They wouldn't want us to be in the same heaven as them. Like, if that was the case, why wouldn't they treat us better on earth? So if everything else they gave us in the institution of slavery was nightmarish for 200 years, then the religion they gave us must also be a part of the damn nightmare. All I'm asking y'all to do is just think critically about it. I'm not trying to tell y'all to denounce your religion. Don't do that, because we'd probably be in worse shape if y'all decided to do that. But if everything the slave master gave us was hell, then why would they give us the keys to heaven? Why would they give us Christianity? Why wouldn't they tell us to study some other religion? Why would they give us their religion? Why would they give it to us? Because they gave us torture every other moment of the day. Unrelenting torture. Sun up to sundown until we were dead. But let's share our beautiful religion with them and give them the keys to heaven. That don't even make no sense. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Tune into the award-winning 1017 The Truth Business Spotlight with Sweet Talks Med and Spa this Thursday at 3:57 p.m. between the Tori Lowe Show and Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris. We'll be joined by Operations Manager Maddie, who will discuss Sweet Talks Med and Spa's non-surgical anti-aging and wellness treatments and how every service is customized to fit your individual needs. Again, that is the Business Spotlight this Thursday with Sweet Talks Med and Spa at 3:57 p.m. right here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
Sharon needed legal help. She needed Gruber Law Offices.
When I think about Gruber Law Office, I think about how they took care of me, how they make sure that you get what you're supposed to get. Gruber Law Office. One call, that's all. I will always trust one call, that's all.
Injured? Call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
They are the best. I'm very happy.
It's a spring thing, Milwaukee. Join us Saturday, May 2nd from 11 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at Embassy Center MKE, 3725 North Sherman Boulevard. This free family community resource fair is for ages 0 to 100. Get free diapers, baby wipes, groceries, haircuts while supplies last. Don't miss baby food prep classes and powerful maternal health speakers, Bishop Walter Harvey and Dalvery Blackwell. Doors open at 10:30. Come early. It's a spring thing. Don't miss it.
Our children deserve a real chance to make it in life, and a good education is a passport to opportunity. At City Ford Collective, we're working to make sure there's a great Milwaukee school for every Milwaukee family, because more good options lead to better outcomes. And who doesn't want that? Together, we can give every child the foundation they need to thrive, and a stronger future for kids means a stronger future for Milwaukee. To learn more about our mission, visit us at cityfordcollective.org. That's cityfordcollective.org.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. You might miss someone who has valuable skills to offer to help your business thrive right now and in the future. Because the truth is this: Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. When you let their story unfold, you gain a competitive advantage, because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. See the real person, complete. See what others miss. Hire skills first. Learn why it's a competitive advantage at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Join me tomorrow at 11 a.m. for the Milwaukee Experience with me, Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee. This is a city that knows how to celebrate, where the calendar is packed with festivals and the plates are piled high with flavor, and lakefront sunrises set the stage for unforgettable days. In Milwaukee, every street leads to something worth savoring. It's a place that welcomes you with open arms. The Milwaukee Experience every Friday at 11 a.m. exclusively on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee. And it's a spring thing. Milwaukee, come out Saturday, May 2nd from 11 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. at the Embassy Center, MKE, 3725 North Sherman Boulevard. This free family community resource fair is from ages 0 to 100. So you can go, Adam! Get free diapers, baby wipes, groceries, haircuts while supplies last. Don't miss the baby food prep class on powerful maternal health speakers, Bishop Walter Harvey and Dalvery Blackwell. Doors open at 10:30. Come early, it's a spring thing. Don't miss it. Hello, Kathy. What do you have to say today?
Hey, how you doing, Sherwin?
I don't know how I'm doing. I'm not sure.
Yeah. You know, I felt kind of bad for the gentleman who was talking about he didn't get the years and the dates right. You know, I hope he has somebody at home to help him, or he could call back tomorrow so we can straighten him out. He should track how old he is from when he retired, or ask him how long he's got his Social Security check. He's 15, 20 years off. It's kind of sad. We got people out here like that. People can take advantage of people like that there, because you read it back to him twice and he didn't even pick up on it. And then this is 2024. So, and I'm going to tell you another one. He didn't vote. He doesn't know what's going on. It's kind of sad. And the other thing I want to let people know about, and this is for your listeners to tell their friends, family, neighbors, cousins, nieces, whoever you see. If for their birthday or holiday or Christmas, if you're buying anything, or they can buy it themselves, please get a AAA card, because you get stopped with these floods and this water out here, or you have a car problem, don't call nobody for $100. Use AAA. They got to learn that. And then people say they don't know their neighbors don't clean up. You need to know your neighbors. They can help you out with crime, different stuff. Plus, y'all clean out the sewer drains. Whether you're renting, owning, or whatever, that's your responsibility, because at the end of the day, when your house floods, it ain't the landlord's fault. That's Mother Nature. Get you some renter's insurance. Okay, get renter's insurance for fire, any kind of thing, smoking in the house, kids tearing up stuff. Get renter's insurance. People understand if you own a place or just renting, get renter's insurance and clean out your drains.
Got to get flood insurance too, Kathy. Flood insurance is separate.
Yes. But, right, that's separate, but if you're not owning, but for both, they need to set that up. It was just on Talk Radio, I heard, I don't know if it's your station or someone else, but get that. And don't drive your car in water. People should tell this to everybody, your friends, neighbors, whoever, your nieces and nephews, grandkids, do not drive in a bunch of water. Your car is going to stop, back up out of there, and sit off to the side if you can't go anywhere else. I mean, even the buses are not trying to go through there. I mean, what's with that? You're going to outpower somebody else because your car is higher than there? Plus, on top of that, you don't know if you're going through wires that are down. Get electrocuted. get some insurance on your car, too. I mean, stop getting your hair and nails done and all the extra stuff that we women and men do, and get some auto insurance and a AAA card. My niece and nephew for Christmas every year, I renew every year. Guess what they get? A AAA card.
And it's not expensive.
Don't call me.
How much it costs, Kathy?
I think it's $49 or $59 for the year, but they only come out 4 times. Okay, but they don't just change tires. You have to pay for like a battery. But my car stopped one time, and I had them bring me a battery. I wasn't calling 5 people to hook up a battery and take this one back to the store. It cost a few dollars more, but I had services right away. Just tell me, hey, I think it's the battery, or they normally bring one with them.
Oh.
Okay, so you get a tire change for a battery. They bring gas to you if you run out of gas. They do charge you for that. But those are nice, quick services. Or you can get an extended package that goes more than 25 miles. It goes to 100 miles out, and they'll tow your vehicle for you back to your home or to a nearby place. I wouldn't take them to another place like my home unless you knew an auto place to begin with. So we got to educate ourselves on not just going out here, hanging out here, partying all day. Parents and grandparents, whoever they are, you know people. They don't have to be your relatives, anybody. Get a AAA card. I had 3 different people on my nephew and them call me about AAA. I said, yeah, I got 2. I keep 2 cards, and no one's getting any of them. You're not going to use up all my time on a card. Go buy a card and wait 24 hours so you can use it.
How can you have 2 AAA cards, Kathy?
Because I'm a smart woman like you are.
Oh, we're both smart women.
You can get one per household like that, but I'm not going to give all my tricks of the trade out because I'm not the dumbest one on the territory. I had it for years.
Listen, our people need all the information they can get. Don't be a gatekeeper. Don't be trying to keep all.
No. Some of my stuff may not be right, okay, but all I'm saying is get a AAA card, 25 miles, or they'll charge you for 100 miles if you pay $60 or $70 more. Or you can get the family plan. 2 people that live in the same household, or you could tell they live in the same household. At least you can use that card more often then. You can use the card more often.
All right.
But,
thank you. That's very useful.
I used mine twice last year with the snow that I got caught up with in the snow, and then with the flooding. But you can let your car dry out. Don't let nobody fool you. Open that hood up and let that car dry out.
Oh, Kathy, if water gets into the crankcase, if the interior gets flooded with all,
we don't know if it's in there yet. I'm gonna tell you something. They told me they tow mine out, right? My RAV4, it runs better than my new car. Okay, and that was wet, not completely wet. They had a drying system. It hung out. I got people sitting here
today. Did you have water in the interior?
No, it wasn't. But people just assume, everybody run around at work, hey, you better call your insurance. Well, yeah, once they total it out for the money that it's worth because it's an old vehicle, or they'll get a loan to get another one. It's going to cost you more.
Did it stop? Were you driving in?
No.
It was parked?
No, it was sitting. It was parked. Yes, I have 2. Okay. It was parked.
And then you went
out 2 SUVs.
And started it the next day, and did it start or did it not start?
No, we opened it up, and we said we're just going to leave it. I didn't even try to start it. Because I have other cars I can use.
That's because it
did. And it worked. And my sister, I have more than one vehicle.
All right. And, I got to go, though. My show is over. But thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
All right.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Okay, then. All right.
Some great calls today.
Says who?
Me.
A lot of tism. Some of the tism is me. What have we learned today? That I had a stress test yesterday and came back normal, but now I'm going to probably leave here and go have a heart attack. See you tomorrow, maybe.
Milwaukee business owners, this is your moment. Every Friday at 8 a.m., call in to 101.7 The Truth for What the Business Is. Tell us what your business is, where you're located, and one thing you've learned along the way. What the Business is powered by We Energies, delivering the energy that powers local business. Fridays at 8 a.m. on 101.